Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. Hopefully you guys are having a great Monday evening here. It is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. What do we got? It is 8:11 out here in Arizona, so just after 10 on the East Coast. Yes, East Coast folks, we are 1 hour closer together. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like you're closer to me? Hopefully you do. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. This is part 2 of this wild Rotten Tomatoes top 200 horror films of all time. So before we dive into that, I'm going to say what's up to all you guys, all that good stuff. We are going to look yet again, just in case we have folks that are joining us this time around that missed last night. We're going to go over the parameters that Rotten Tomatoes are using to determine this list, because it sort of makes sense with what's going on, but also at the same time, we might look at some of the lowlights, the highlights / lowlights of number 200 through 100, because guys, there were appearances of movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, the original Exorcist, The Thing, Scream was pretty low on the list. Scream 2 was higher on the list. And then there's some that just movies that I really love, like, you know, The Evil Dead and Land of the Dead, that were relatively low, but I'm kind of okay with it. I even think Dead Alive was at a pretty good spot, although I would put Dead Alive probably in my top 10 or top 20, at least top 20. But I understand why it was where it was. So let's just say what's up to everybody first. I will thank you all yet again for joining me on a Tuesday. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content, somebody who you think would have fun tearing this list apart. Maybe they can join us tonight, because we are marching towards 2,000 subscribers. We're right at like the 19, we're in the 19 teens. So less than 100 away. I think we're 80 something away as of right now. So yeah, and then even if you really dig what we're doing here and you want to hype the video after, or just find like your favorite video that you've seen on the channel in the last few weeks and hype that one, you know, and then that way it just sort of helps push a video that you found, you know, brought you over here, or just one that you thought was exceptional. So anyways, enough of the blah blah blahing and the commercials and all that stuff. Thank you to the Patreon members, our YouTube channel members, and of course our group of Death Squad mods. So I'm going to say what's up to you guys, and then we're going to get going on this list. Let's see here. Shot by Shot, how are you doing, Shotty? Welcome on in. We got Ashton Luck, Chester Franklin Jr. What's happening, Chester? We got Adrian in the house as well. We have our great channel member Antonis Andriotis. How are you doing, Antonis? Nothing much is up. I'm looking forward to doing this list. It's been an odd day. I had, you know, every now and then you just have those intrusive thoughts, and I had intrusive thoughts at about 2 in the morning. Started having like a fit of anxiety as I'm like trying to fall asleep. And then today has just been really, really weird. So I just haven't felt quite right. And you know, I don't know. I need you guys to do some of the heavy lifting tonight. We're gonna have some fun with this list, but I like being honest with you guys and letting you guys know where I'm at. So it's been an odd day, but I'm here for a break from all of that, and I think of YouTube and streaming as a very healthy escape. So let's have some fun. Saucy Jack's Boneyard says, yay, part 2 of this crappy list. That's right, Saucy Jack. Hey, you know what? We'll get through it, and we'll get through it together. How about that? We've got Nanette's Blood Rose Horror Nightmare, one of our great channel members. How you doing, Nanette? So good to see you. So great to have you. We've got Linda, another one of our great channel members. How you doing, Linda? Man, I know Linda and I were having a rough time with the Evil Dead placement, and well, and just a whole bunch of Scream, I think in particular, was one that kind of really really sent both of us for a loop there, Linda. We'll see what this what the 100 that we're going to cover tonight brings, huh? Part 2, oh damn, I guess I need to go watch part 1. Yeah, it was pretty hardcore. Fight the Good Fight. Welcome on in. It was pretty intense. We'll go over some of that. We'll go over some. So I'm just going to say what's up to everybody. We got Dean Renner, one of our great Patreon members, channel members, and Death Squad mods. How are you doing, Dean? So good to see you in here, and thank you for reminding everyone to hit that like button. show some love. I do have a poll in the chat as well. So it looks like a lot of you have seen this already. Which movie's placement from the 200 to 100 pissed you off the most? The Exorcist, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scream, and The Thing. And it is pretty much tied between The Exorcist, Scream, and The Thing. So that makes sense. Those were all pretty poorly placed, I would say. All right, let's see here. We got Stephanie Hinkle, one of our great channel members. How you doing, Stephanie? Are we all ready for the shitty list? Yes, we are. Paula Fitzhenry, how are you doing, Paula? So good to see you. We got Billy Judd in the house. How are you doing, Billy? Gory Tiger, what's happening, Gory? Always a pleasure to have you join us, my guy. And let's see here. Holy cow, 30 people are kicking it with us. I hope that if you are hanging out, especially if you're participating in the poll, that you're also clicking that like button. It's free, and what's really cool is it gives us a little added exposure. Maybe it brings some people to the stream, or it makes it pop up on their homepage when they open up their app and they're like, who's this guy Davey Deathray talking about some Rotten Tomatoes list? And then they jump in on the stream and they have a friggin' awesome time, and then we've got them forever. We got Aaron Click in the house. How are you doing, Aaron? So awesome to have you here. Oh, we got Yan Hollister saying that The Thing is the best horror movie of all time. Yeah, I would not disagree. I think it's definitely in the running. When people ask me what my favorite is, that's usually what I say. It's very difficult to beat. There are a handful of answers I would accept. I guess I'll say that. I mean, really, I would accept everyone's answers, but there are a handful that I think most people would gravitate towards. I guess I should say that. We got Brett from Good Real Hunting in the house, one of our great channel members, and Death Squad Mods. How are you doing, Brett? So good to see you. Yeah, we'll go through the list a little bit quicker, and we're not going to have the Halloween video game stuff to go over before like we did last night. Hey, David, no worries, man. I'm glad that my voice freaking out over rankings of horror movies could put you off into a lovely, lovely slumber there. So welcome on back, and I hope we have a great time tonight as well. This portion of the ranking is probably going to piss me off even more than that other portion. Maybe, yeah. We've got Afro Whale in the house, says this list is like punching yourself in the bowels. Yes, it is. But I will give Rotten Tomatoes credit for this. They explain how they make their list. It's not just based on the tomato meter, which would be really easy. We'll go over that here in a sec. Yan Hollister says, I only trust IMDb ratings. Those are like a little more fair, I would say. I just think it's like, kind of like anything else, any other news. Look at a whole bunch of sources, kind of read what the consensus is, or, what the story is behind the reviews, and then think to yourself, am I already interested? Does this sound like something I would enjoy anyways? Or just say fuck it with all of it and just go see a movie if you think you would like the movie. I don't know. I kind of like take a little bit from everything. So I don't give reviews too much credence, but I think it's certainly something to consider when like weighing, a movie's legacy or whether or not you want to shell out the money to go see it in the theater. That's for sure. But now that I have the AMC A-list, I see a lot more in the theater, for sure. Yep. So I've seen some crap, but I've seen some stuff I really like, too. Hey, I made it. No shit. Hello. What's happening, J Beach? Welcome on in, man. Welcome on in. Great to have you back. I'm just going to make sure I'm not missing anybody else here. Maybe I am dreading the terrible ranking. Yeah, I mean, I peaked. I've looked at the top 10. A whole bunch of movies that, well, we'll get there. What's happening, Matt Facci from Facci Cinema, one of our great Death Squad mods. How are you doing, Matt? So good to see you. Love Matt and what he does over there at Facci Cinema, and I think we are caught up. There we go. Okay, so let me bring up this cool little banner that I made. It's not really that cool. All it does is say that, so it's not really that special. And I am going to, let's see here, get to the top of the article, and we will take a look at the parameters. We already read through the rest of everything here yesterday, so let me do that for you. And I'm just going to read the parameters before we get into it. So they say to sort this list, we're using our recommendation formula, which factors in both the movie's tomato meter and audience-driven popcorn meter, along with the film's number of reviews and year of release. And how did we pick what to initially throw into our bubbling recommendation cauldron? We handpicked only certified fresh movies with a positive popcorn meter, with recent movies needing at least 100 critics reviews. What's recent? Anything after 2016, which is when we expanded our critics pool and criteria. So yes, newer movies, if they have more reviews, they're probably more likely to have more positive reviews. So newer movies are certainly favored in this list, unfortunately, because, you know what, Exorcist was like 159. They just didn't have as many people reviewing movies back in 1973. So how could, even though The Exorcist for most people is, you know, a top 3 pick, for a lot of people, they would say it's the best horror movie of all time, you know? Certainly in the running, but with the way that they're doing this list, a movie like Talk to Me probably, now I don't know where Talk to Me is on the list. Maybe it is in the top 100. I'm just saying a newer movie would have more chance or a higher chance at getting a higher ranking, just because of how things are weighted here. So let's get into a couple surprises from the God, we don't need to dive into the the comments there. So what, Christine, The Mist, Phenomena, nothing too surprising here right away. Blood and Black Lace is a little low for my liking. Trick or Treat, I'd probably put a little bit higher as well. Deep Red, I would certainly put in the top 10. I think Deep Red is a fantastic giallo movie. One of my favorite Dario Argento movies. The Lost Boys, a lot of people really didn't like The Lost Boys being at 180. Land of the Dead, I love it, but I'm okay with where it's at. Frailty, I think, should be higher. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, yeah, we can talk about that a little bit, but I think Scream should be way higher than 174. Oh, The Exorcist is 173. Even worse, I said 159. So even worse that it just barely beats out Scream. I think those are both fantastic movies there. Candyman, I think, could be higher. I don't know what 1408 is doing this high. The Shallows is good. Is it better than The Exorcist? No. Halloween 2018, I'm not really going to say much about that. I really love that movie, but I'm more protective of the first movie. So yeah, let's just keep on cruising here. Again, guys, we went through all of this a little more with a more fine-tooth comb yesterday. So check out part 1 if you want to see the whole thing. Fright Night, I think for a lot of people could be a little bit higher. I like Ouija, Origin of Evil. Scream 2 higher than Scream 1. Interesting. TCM 149, The Shining 148. I think those are like pretty low on this list, especially when you see that a movie like Crawl is higher. The remake of Candyman is higher. You know, The Thing is at 142. I think that's pretty shocking. House of the Devil better than The Thing? I don't think so. And I think it's a good movie. It's 2017 higher than The Thing. Yikes. The Omen, I think, could probably be higher. Evil Dead, you guys know how I feel about Evil Dead. I totally love it, but I'm not going to get angry at them. Carnival of Souls, I like that one. Poltergeist, okay. Nothing that gets too shocking, I don't think, for the rest of this part of the list. But I guess what is shocking is that some of these movies that I think are just okay, or maybe I haven't watched because I haven't heard enough good things about, are actually ranked higher than movies that are known to be bona fide classics. Hey, Dead Alive at 109. I'm actually impressed that this list has Dead Alive on it at all. Like, I'll be shocked if George Romero's Day of the Dead is on this list based on what I've seen. Tremors from 1990, I'm probably putting that in my top 30, top 50 at least. So yeah, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, never seen it, but always scared of it, seeing it in the video store as a kid. And then we ended with 100, so technically we're going through 99 to 1. So I'm just gonna have a drink of water. I'm gonna check in with you guys, make sure everything is okay, and make sure I'm not missing out on saying hello to anybody that has since joined us. So let me see what we got. Yeah, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. You always have to factor in like how excited you are, right? Exactly. How was Halloween night? Did you go all night and did some DJ? I didn't do any DJing. I dressed as Michael Myers. I handed out candy at my parents' house. But I also like stood there like a statue, and when the kids walked up to get their candy, because some of my siblings were there handing out candy as well, I would try to scare them. It was fun. It was great. What's happening, Jamie? One of our great channel members, our OG Death Squad mod and our mama mod. Welcome on in. TJZ says the entire Rotten Tomatoes ranking is an absolute disaster and abomination. Very woke and dumb. Well, I don't know about that. I guess maybe there's just because there's more people reviewing now. Maybe people do give positive reviews because they see things like representation that they want to see that don't necessarily say anything about like the actual quality of the film. I guess how I feel about that is if that's what you're doing, then just be open about the criteria that you're using. I think it's fair as long as you're being open about it. But I don't read all their reviews enough to throw the W word around because I don't read. I don't read Rotten Tomatoes reviews. I'll find it curious if a score is a certain score, like, oh wow, this movie that's supposed to be great only got a 78%, or something like that. But it's all just a piece of the puzzle and all that. Lost Boys placement's terrible. Yeah. All right, let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody else, and we will get a rolling here. Matt has entered the chat. What's happening? Says the Blair Witch isn't even the best in that franchise. Third movie is the best. Maybe it's in the top 100. Maybe it is. Henry is boring. Okay. I've heard it's really good, but it just seems really, really difficult. Seems like a very tough movie to watch. Okay, guys, sorry, my contact is bugging me. There we go. Hopefully that won't be a thing throughout the entire stream. But let's go ahead and jump on down to number 99. So here we go. We got Zombieland from 2009 in the 99 spot. I like Zombieland. I think it's really fun. It's part of that whole like zombie comedy, the zomcom subgenre. So I had a lot of fun with this one in the theater. I think I've probably seen it once or twice since then, and I don't think I've ever seen the sequel. We'll see if the sequel makes the list. Maybe Zombieland would make it in my top 100, but certainly not above all the movies and great movies that you guys saw on the list that are ranked lower than this one. So, but pretty fun. I would say Woody Harrelson's very charming. Jesse Eisenberg is doing the Jesse Eisenberg thing. Emma Stone and Abigail Breslin, they're good. Yeah, Zombieland is fun for sure. Ready or Not, this is one that I just think is like okay. Like this would probably make a top 200 for me, near 200. I just Radio Silence to me is just kind of middle of the road. Nothing offensive, nothing great. I think what it is their humor doesn't really land with me for whatever reason. I don't know. That's just a very specific thing. Like if someone's sense of humor grabs you or it doesn't, like the Scary Movie movies. I don't find them very funny, but I find things like The Naked Gun and Airplane and all that kind of stuff funny. But Scary Movie, no. And Ready or Not, yeah, it's fine. I don't think I would say this. Your Next was in the 200 to 100. I do think Your Next is much better than Ready or Not. I enjoyed it a lot more anyway. So let's see what we got. We'll probably do like 10 at a time, and then I'll jump in and say what's up to you guys. Julia's Eyes. Never heard of this movie in my life. Spanish thriller. Okay, so it's a foreign film, so maybe that explains why it's not on my radar. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know in the live chat, or if you're watching after the fact, jump on in and let me know. But I have not even heard of this movie, and here it is at number 97. Better than The Thing and The Exorcist. Hey, there we go. Martin from 1978. This would be in my top 100 and maybe in my top 50. Outside of the Romero Dead movies, this one is my favorite of his. I love the editing. I love the story. John Amplas puts in a really good performance for an actor that, like, I don't even think ever really had his day. I really like him in Day of the Dead, and I love him in Martin. If you have not seen Martin and you're a fan of, like, the 70s kind of shoot from the hip Romero style, I think you'll really, really dig this one. Man, the editing. I noticed that, like, the way they were editing the movie and the way the tension was building in the story, my heartbeat was like matching up with some of the cuts. It was just really, there's like a rhythm in certain scenes to Martin during the more tense kind of scenes. So yeah, man, Martin, great. I'm happy that it's in the top 100, and it would certainly be in my top 100 as well. Wreck, man, this one really doesn't do it for me. I revisited this movie last year because I had a collaboration with Curtis and Jenks from Twisted Locker, and we were talking about our best or favorite zombie movies. We were all doing a top 10 favorite zombie films, and I rewatched Wreck, the original. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. I remember liking it a lot more when I first saw it. And maybe I've just grown like even more I guess weary is the right word of found footage, because I'm just like tired of it because it just doesn't scare me. And it seems to waste even more time than like television wastes when it tells stories. So yeah, Wreck for me, I don't even think it's making my top 200. I don't know. Not a fan. House from 1977. This is the Japanese version of the movie House, not the Steve Miner directed American film. This is one I have yet to see, but I know it's an absolute classic. It seems just very surreal and dreamlike. So it seems like a really fun time and a wild, wacky movie, but I've just never seen it, not for any reason other than there's a whole bunch of movies on this list that I just still have yet to see. But hey guys, I will say this. During spooky season, I watched like 30 movies I had never seen before in September and October. So you guys should be proud of me for at least that. Although, unfortunately, House wasn't one of them. But I'll have to put it on the list. You just made the list. Phantom of the Opera from 1925 with Lon Chaney. I know the images from this movie. I don't think I've ever seen the 1925 version of the Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid going through all the, Universal monsters and all that, you see pictures of, Lon Chaney and then, of course, his son. You see Junior there as well. But yeah, Phantom of the Opera, it's just not one I ever got around to. I have a very difficult time believing that a 1925 version of the Phantom of the Opera is actually better than The Thing, The Exorcist, TCM. I can't say it for every movie, but I pretty much can say it for every movie. Ginger Snaps, here we go. Okay, so Ginger Snaps is ranked above An American Werewolf in London, which I think maybe some people would take issue with. I've only seen An American Werewolf in London, I think, just once. I've also only seen Ginger Snaps just once. However, it was earlier this year during spooky season when I was trying to catch up on movies I've never seen before, and this movie surprised the hell out of me. Maybe my favorite werewolf movie of all time. Now, I'm not the hugest, when I think about favorite werewolf movies, I've maybe only seen a handful, right? So maybe I'm not just to let you guys know where I'm coming at it from. But Ginger Snaps, the practical effects were amazing here. Practical effects are awesome. The Catherine Isabel, and it must be Emily Perkins, right? They're playing the sisters. They are so good. The chemistry that they have is amazing. And I know they're both in the sequel and prequel. And then I can't remember the name of the movie off the top of my head, but I think they played sisters again in another movie or TV show or something like that. So really great performances, awesome chemistry from our two leads here. We've got Mimi Rogers is there as well. I'm seeing her name. Is Chris Lemke, he must be the guy that's also in Final Destination 3. He is very charming, very awesome. Ginger Snaps is really good. Ginger Snaps is probably in my top 75, I would say. At least my top 100. So I'm cool with it, there. Although, of course, the classics I'm going to be ranking ahead of it. The Invitation from 2015. I have not seen The Invitation. A man starts to believe his ex-wife makes a brilliant use of tension-rich premise to deliver a uniquely effective and surprisingly clever slow-building thriller. Okay. Sounds good. I don't even know that I've heard of this movie. It's got such a bland title, The Invitation. What the hell does that mean? It just hardly means anything at all. So yeah, I don't know. Better than all these classics? I just don't know. Green Room. This is a movie I still need to see as well, and this one has been recommended to me so many times because it's about punk rock. I do think Anton Yelchin was an amazing performer. I mean, gone way too soon and far too tragic of a way to go. But yeah, I need to check this one out. Imogen Poots. I think she's got to be a better actress than the only movie I've seen her in, which is Black Christmas from 2019. But yeah, Green Room, that's another blind spot for me. I've got to rectify that here at the end of 2025, or at least in the early part of 2026. So that's going to be another one that goes on the list, and I'm going to jump back into the chat and hang out with you guys and see what y'all got. All right, I'm way behind on the chat. Let's see here. Julia's Eyes is a movie I've heard of, but I've never seen it. Yeah. Martin is underrated. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Jason Carpenter, welcome on in, bud. Hope you are doing well. Very good to see you. Although Ready or Not is not a movie I think people will be talking about like Scream or TCM. Yeah. I think that's the thing with a lot of these movies. Big fan of Ready or Not. Can't wait for the sequel. Yeah, I figured you had something to say to lead up to that one. Davey, when are you going to learn don't hate on our scary movie? Yeah, it's just not my style. At least I'm upfront about it. I'm not weird about it. I can tell you why I don't like that kind of humor. So there's that. Yeah, I think that's another thing too, Ben. You brought up a good point, and I think I may have mentioned it once yesterday, just like, do we talk about these movies anymore that are ranked above some of these classics? You know, they may have more reviews, and so maybe they have a heavier score. But yeah, Nanette, if you like vampire movies and think pieces, then Martin is for you. Yeah, Wreck, just bores the hell out of me, but Aaron Click loves it. Hey, more power to you. I know a lot of people really love this movie, you know, especially when they're doing a zombie movie ranking, that it would get, you know, a top 5 billing in a ranking like that. Yeah, the Spanish version. I don't think I've ever seen Quarantine. Maybe I have, but I've seen Wreck a couple times. Just not. Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah, it is what it is. I just find that it bores the hell out of me. Yeah, I know. I'm such a disappointment, Brett. House is insane. Must see. Yeah, it looks totally wild. It looks like I don't know, like a horror cartoon. It just looks just totally crazy. Phantom of the Opera is one of the few movies that is silent I like. Okay. Love this Phantom of the Opera. All right, says David. Okay, so maybe I need to check out that 1925 version one. Ben says, I'm a fan of found footage. The first person aspect enhances my engagement in what's happening. All right. Yeah, for whatever reason, it doesn't hit me the way a standard narrative does. I find that in found footage, there's a lot of bad performances, and then it just ends up looking cheap a lot of the time. And then I end up waiting so long for something exciting to happen. So yeah, I don't know. Like Paranormal Activity was in the list yesterday and way above some classics. So let's see what we got. Ginger Snaps is a classic. Linda, not a fan of Ginger Snaps. What don't you like about it, Linda? I like Ginger Snaps, but not over American Werewolf. I think that's fair. Yeah. Ginger Snaps is my favorite werewolf movie, says Nanette. Jamie loves it. Brett says, ever seen a Ginger Snap? I don't recommend making them mad. Yeah. There you go. Never seen Ginger Snaps. Yan, if you like werewolf movies, I think you'll have a good time. Yeah, same goes for you, Chester. If you're a werewolf movie guy, I never got into the genre, you know, per se. I happen to have seen a handful of the movies, you know. But yeah, man, Ginger Snaps was a surprise, I would say, for me. They were the Wicked Stepsisters in Cinderella Story 2. That's great. Okay. Love it. My cousin is a ginger. It's definitely scary when he snaps. Well, her name is Ginger, right? The other sister was the original Bev in It. Oh, shit. Okay. Crazy. Okay. Let's see here. The Invitation is solid. Same director as Jennifer's Body. Okay. Well, I like Jennifer's Body quite a bit. The movie. Okay. Green Room is awesome. Okay. Yeah, I definitely got to see that. Professor X as a bad guy. I thought you almost said bald guy. I'm like, well, of course he's the bald guy. Oh, too much fun. We got Eli Cortez in the house. Sorry, my mouse is having a tough time catching up with the chat. Welcome on in, Eli. Hope you are doing well. I like Bad Moon, and it has a dog as a protagonist. Well, there we go. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and You're totally weird, Davey. I like that. Me, Davey? What did I do that's weird? Is there a different Davey? We got Drew's Movie Club in the house. What's happening, Drew? So good to see you. Says never go by Rotten Tomatoes. Well, that's for sure. Yeah. Ray, it's pretty wild. Check out part 1 if you want to see some really crazy shit. But let's get back to the list, guys. How about it? Welcome on into the new folks. If you are hanging out with us, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel, all that good kind of stuff. And let's jump into 89 through 80. All right, so number 89, we've got Hereditary from Ari Aster. And I'm one of those people that I have yet to see one Ari Aster movie. How wild is that, guys? Still haven't seen Hereditary. Every time it comes up to where it's like, hey, Davey, do you want to watch this movie? I'm like, oh, can I handle it? It just seems so heavy, guys. Life has been really heavy for me in the last year or so. So every time it comes up, you know, I'm just like, I don't know if I can. And then it's crazy to think that it's from 2018. So it's been like a long time that this movie's been out and I've still yet to see it. So another one that I've got to see for sure. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Hereditary being number 89 on the list? Is it up? It seems like a lot of people say it's one of the best horror movies in the last decade, you know, in the last 10 years. So, yeah. We got The Lighthouse from 2019, a movie I have seen. How about that? You know, is it a horror movie? I mean, it is out there and it's bizarre and it has kind of freakish elements. I don't know if I would consider The Lighthouse like a horror movie. I don't know. I guess it is. You guys tell me in the live chat if you're hanging out afterwards, you're watching after the fact, jump into the comments, let me know. I don't know. I did enjoy The Lighthouse quite a bit. I'm just like, at this point, I'm wrestling to think, is it even a horror movie? But it is a movie I enjoyed very much. I had to put the subtitles on though. That's what I have to do with Robert Eggers movies. It's just a matter of fact. Here we go. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from 1931, one of my favorite old school, you know, this is a Paramount film, but it's from the same age as Universal Monsters and all that kind of stuff. And this version in particular with Frederick March is my favorite version. I love this movie so much. The practical effects are amazing. The makeup and the camera effects that they use here and the editing is all very, very impressive, especially for a movie that came out so long ago, almost 100 years old at this point. So I would definitely have this one in my top 100. I'll say that. I'm happy that it's in here. Didn't expect to see it necessarily. And then we got The Wolfman, 1941 Universal classic here with Lon Chaney Jr. This is one I've probably seen, you know, I would say only a couple times. I like this one. I like it okay. I'm more of like a Dracula and Frankenstein guy when it comes to the Universal monsters and less of a Wolfman kind of guy. But I'm not going to complain about the Wolfman being in the top 100. Okay, here's a movie. This must be this is another Asian film, Kurosawa. I'm guessing that's a Japanese name there. So Creepy from 2016. Yeah, never heard of this one. Never heard of Creepy. Have you guys seen Creepy? Let me know. Is it one of the best horror films of all time? And holy cow, we got The Wicker Man, one of the most popular like folklore cult type movies. Another classic that I've not yet seen, and I know that people like this one a lot more than the Nicolas Cage remake, which gets ripped on all the time. I am kind of surprised to see it this highly ranked. Is it that good? Is the original Wicker Man really that good? I don't know. Let me know. Number 84. Okay, 91%. I'm impressed that a movie from 1973, like these older movies, you know, Wolfman included and Dr. Jekyll, yes, 91%, but I'm impressed that they're this high on the list because of all that other criteria that Rotten Tomatoes listed here. Misery from 1990 as number 83. This is a different kind of horror movie, definitely a more psychological brand of horror. But man, this movie is really good. Kathy Bates is amazing. And the movie really gives you that feeling of isolation right there, along with James Caan's character, novelist Paul Sheldon. And yeah, Misery from 1990. I'm not gonna. I would put this in my top 100. I would imagine, even though Rob Reiner directed it. It's just a little dig at Rob Reiner. Gerald's Game. All right, Mike Flanagan's Gerald's Game. I have not seen this Netflix. Is it a movie? It is a movie, right? Because it wouldn't be on this list. So they wouldn't do the limited series on this list. I remember when this book came out. Did they do a different film version of this? They might have. Yeah, from 2017. Gosh, the time just flies by because I remember when this was like a new thing, right? Carla Gugino and Bruce Greenwood here. Ooh, Henry Thomas is in there as well. Number 82. I'm kind of surprised to see this one so high on the list just because I haven't heard many people talking about it. Then we got Bone Tomahawk here. We actually watched this one on the Discord. I don't know, when was it, guys? A month ago? 6 weeks ago, maybe something like that. I had never seen it before. We had a super chat goal, and you guys achieved the super chat goal, so we watched it over there. And this one is another one of those movies where I'm like, is this a horror movie? Yeah, it has gory elements and everything like that, but just because a movie has violence and has gore, is it horror? Like, is Saving Private Ryan a horror movie because it shows explicit violence, brutal violence? I don't know. Bone Tomahawk certainly has some stuff, you know, a year before Terrifier, and they do the whole bisection thing, which is pretty gnarly. The movie is very hardcore. It is very bloody. It's a really good movie. I'll say that. It's a really good movie. I don't know if it would occur to me to put it in my top 100. And then here at number 80, we have The Endless from 2017, kind of like The Invitation. I'm just sort of like The Endless. That's really what you're naming your story. Kind of an odd name, but whatever. That's just, I'm just judging the movie by its cover here. Number 80, never heard of this one, but there it is, sitting at 91%. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Two brothers receive a cryptic video message inspiring them to revisit the UFO death cult they escaped a decade earlier. You guys will have to let me know about The Endless. Is it this good? Number 80. Wow. I'm going to jump in and see what you guys are saying. And grab a sip of water here. Wicker Man is freaking great. I like The Wolfman, but I don't know if I'd put it any higher. I have to think about where I would put that movie at. Yeah. Wolfman is awesome. Saucy Jack's favorite Universal. There we go. Frankenstein's Bride, that's the best. Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein's tough to beat. Miriam Hopkins is amazing in Jekyll and Hyde. I need to see it again. So David, you're an old school fan. Yeah, I mean, I love that version. I need to watch. It's been probably a few years since I've seen that version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah, The Lighthouse is really good. Yeah, Willem Dafoe's really great. Robert Pattinson is awesome. Aaron Click says it's horrific enough. I mean, yeah, it is on the list, so I'm not gonna, freak out or anything. I should freak out though. Lighthouse is more thriller. Yeah, it's just like, I don't even know what it is. Like, yeah, it is just bizarre. Lighthouse was just weird to be weird to me. It's very atmospheric. Showed it to my elderly buddy at work, and he just shook his head after. Yeah, it's very much about it's so stylized, right, Ben? Like, when you say weird just to be weird, it kind of reminds me of like indie rock in the late 90s, early 2000s, where sometimes I was like, I get why my friends like all this weird stuff, but some of it just seems like that's the point. The Lighthouse does that, I would say, in its stylization for sure. And it does, I guess horror works because it kind of does feel like a nightmare. Yeah, The Lighthouse, I would say, very nightmarish for sure. Wicker Man has been on my list for a while. Well, maybe we can watch that one over on Discord. Fight the Good Fight loves it. All right. There we go. Creepy is a great found footage movie. One of the few I actually will watch and that I like. Okay. So we got so Creepy. We've got some love for that one. All right. Personally, I really like The Cage, Wicker Man, says Jamie Hart. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a lot of fun, right? Kathy Bates does rule, yes. I've read Misery, but never watched. I've heard people... So my guy Fuego from over at the Horror Show channel, he's like the resident Stephen King fanatic. Like, he reads all the books and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was him. I could be wrong. He may have been saying that he liked the movie version of Misery even better than the book. Come on, Death Squad. 32 awesome people in here and only 22 likes. Let's fix that ratio for our guy, Davey. Thank you so much, Eli. Really appreciate you, bud. Okay, let's see here. Slasher Fred says, Misery to me is like a reversal of Sunset Boulevard. Well, I've never seen that. Where instead, it is the celebrity who's being forced to change the ending of a story. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I've never seen Sunset Boulevard. Is that another horror movie? Gerald's Game is apparently very true to the book, as I've heard. Yeah, it seems like a wicked kind of story. Maybe I should see it. Have a good one, Ray. Take care. Bone Tomahawk, another good one. Gerald's Game scared me, threw those handcuffs right out the door. That's why I've never let anyone do something like that. It's a bit too much. It's a bit too much. Same, Bone Tomahawk would not be in the horror section at a Blockbuster. That's true. It would be in like Western or drama or action. Oddly enough. Jenks from the Twisted Locker puts Ghost in the horror genre with Patrick Swayze. Interesting. The Endless is a cult horror. I liked it a lot. Connects to their other movies. Oh, okay. So there's so these two directors have kind of a universe going. Okay. Too many recent movies for my taste. Well, Yan, just wait until we get into the top 10. It's brutal. Sunset Boulevard was a huge inspiration on Lynch. Okay. I can't tell you if The Endless is any good. I'm still watching it. It never seems to end because it's called The Endless. But there we go. All right, guys, let's jump into number 79, Attack the Block. This is kind of like where John Boyega first got his thing going, it seems like. I have never seen Attack the Block. Effortlessly mixing scares, laughs, and social commentary, Attack the Block is a thrilling, briskly paced sci-fi yarn with a distinctly British flavor. Okay, so it's an alien attack movie. All right. Inner city versus outer space. Seems like a lot of fun. I've heard really good things about this one. It's honestly, Attack the Block is one of those movies I've never been like skimming or, going through the streaming site and see it come up and decide not to watch it. And I don't think I've ever had anyone ask like, hey, we should put on, or do you want to watch Attack the Block? So I don't know. You guys will have to tell me. I would imagine it seems like it's got a pretty solid reputation. So I'd imagine that's another one I have to put on the list. Mandy, this one came up yesterday because I have in the string of surreal, maybe like dreamscapey, kind of wild, trippy, hallucinogen infused movies that Nicolas Cage has done over the last like 10 years or so. Mandy is another one that I have not yet seen. So what is it? Color Out of Space was the other one, and there's got to be another one. Oh, Willy's Wonderland or whatever. This one, I love the color scheme here. Like I've seen shots from the movie, and I think I saw the trailer back before the movie came out in 2018. And I mean, it looks beautiful. I've got to see it. And Panos Cosmatos, what else have they done? Because I recognize that name from the director. So yeah, this one definitely got to carve out some time for. Again, though, very surprised to see all these recent movies this high on the list. 10 Cloverfield Lane from 2016, number 77. I didn't watch this one because it just seemed, I don't know. Like, I thought Cloverfield was fine. I wasn't interested enough in Cloverfield to see, like, an adjacent story that takes place in the same universe. I didn't even watch that. They did one in space. The Cloverfield Paradox or whatever the heck it was called. I didn't even watch that one. So there you go. Ooh, here we go. The Witch from 2015. So I think I'd probably put The Witch higher on the list. I love this movie. This is my favorite Eggers movie that I've seen. And again, got to put on the subtitles. I would certainly have this one. Yeah, top 100, maybe even, I don't know. It's tough. I can't say every movie would be top 50. It could be. It could potentially, I would say somewhere between 75 and 50 at the very least for me. So I guess it's not too out of place here at number 76. Nina Forever. What is this? This looks, so first off, it looks really cheap. The poster looks like they didn't spend any money on it. And is this like it must be like a comedy? A dark comedy? Rom-com with a decidedly unorthodox triangle that's as diabolically original as it is daringly dark. So it just seems like the critics' consensus is to use alliteration to sell the movie. Yeah, I don't know. Nina Forever, let me know. Number 75. Is it 100 spots better than The Exorcist? I guess so. 1922. Let's see here. Is this one of those? Is this a Stephen King thing? Let's see here. Thanks to director Zach Hilditch's patient storytelling and strong work from lead Thomas Jane. Oh yeah, there it is. Stephen King adaptation. Okay, yeah, I have not seen this one. All those adaptations. Stephen King is so hit and miss for me. I don't rush out to see the adaptations of his work, honestly. I feel like a lot of times this stuff's just like kind of okay. The movie version of it anyway. So that's number 74. I'm kind of surprised, that one and Gerald's Game are very, very high on this list for being so recent. And then boom, there we go. Number 73, Dawn of the Dead from 1978. The George Romero classic. A lot of people would say that this is Romero's best zombie film, and I think a lot of people would put this in their top spot for favorite zombie film of all time. It's very, very close to the top spot for me. I think it's top 3, I would say. And yeah, I love Dawn of the Dead. For me, it's gonna be, if I'm making a list of best horror movies of all time, Dawn of the Dead's gonna be in the top 20, maybe the top 15 for me. Cat People. This is another classic I've yet to see. Is this the one? Hey, another Tom Conway appearance. He was I can't remember what movie he was on. Was it I think it was the one, the Island of Dr. Moreau original. Anyways, Cat People, I think this is the movie that's credited for having like the very first person camera usage. I could be wrong. Let me know in the chat if you're watching along. This is another classic I haven't seen, but I feel like that is correct, that it's the very first movie to use first person. Demon from 2015. I have not heard of this movie. This looks to be another foreign film here. Marcin Rona. So I don't know if this is Grabowski, Schukart. So this must be a European film. Yeah. I have not ever heard of this one. Peter receives a piece of land as a gift for his upcoming wedding. While preparing to the property to blah, 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 blah. It delivers a gripping and sadly final testament to the singular talent possessed by director and writer Marcin Rona. Gripping and sadly final. Oh, so did the director's passed away. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, I have not seen this movie. Let me know, guys, in the chat if you've seen Demon from 2015, or if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comments and let me know. Revenge. A pregnant woman kills an assortment of people. Okay. A Shudder exclusive from 2016 in the number 70 spot. As ambitious as it is daringly transgressive, Revenge should thrill fans of pitch black horror comedy. Okay. So it's very much leaning on the comedy side. Okay, yeah, it says on the poster there. What does that say? Darkly funny. Yeah, wickedly subversive. Okay. Number 70, though. A Shudder exclusive. Wow. I'm kind of surprised. I'm going to jump in and check your guys' temperature here and see what you all are saying. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment there. What did you think, Adrian? Did you like Attack the Block? So far, this list isn't as bad as the last one. Yeah, but think about this, Stephanie. All of these movies are ranked higher than the movies we saw ranked so damn low. Yeah, The Witch, getting some Witch love. I'd put The Witch way higher on the list. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say for me, it's got to be close to 50. 10 Cloverfield Lane is the only movie that I like from these three movies. I did not like the first one, and I'm not watching the third one. All right. The Witch should be higher. I actually liked The Lighthouse more than The Witch. Fair enough, Yan. Yeah, I mean, I think that Eggers is just so stylized. You know, his movies all have a little bit of a different flavor, but you know when you go to watch one of his films, they're going to look beautiful. and that he's going to try to immerse you as much as he can into that world. So yeah, I mean, I really applaud him for that. He's a very hardworking director out there. The Witch is one of my favorite movies that's been done in the last few years. Definitely in my top 10. Is Nina a horror porn? Maybe. I don't even know. What the fuck Nina know ever? Bold statement, Yan, but I dig it. Oh, talking about the lighthouse over the witch? Yeah. I mean, they've got to be pretty... If you're a hardcore Eggers fan, they got to be pretty close. Yeah. I enjoyed 1922, but it would be lower on the list. Yeah. Ken Faree at his best? I think so. The remake of Dawn is better. I know. Hot take. That is a hot take. That's a hot take that I think is acceptable. I will say that. Like, I've heard, a handful of people say that. Dawn of the Dead should be higher, top 50 easily. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jamie says top 30. I think, yeah, and for me, it might be top 20, at least top 30 for sure. Yeah. Chester says top 20. There you go. If I had to choose one or the other to watch right now, it would be the remake. The remake is certainly more exciting. I really appreciate what Zack Snyder did with that remake because it's take the same premise and make something that feels modernized and different and justifies its existence. That's what a good remake should do. It shouldn't feel so much like the original that there's no real point in watching it, right? Cat People created the jump scare. Is that what it is? Can anyone check on the first person thing for me? I don't like that this movie is even on the list. I prefer the remake of Cat People. Maybe it'll be on the list. Dawn of the Dead should be way higher. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. Okay, I think I'm just gonna cruise on up. No spoilers here. Welcome on in, Prince. How are you doing? But some foreign gems on here are top. Yeah, top notch. Gotcha. What's happening, Jeff? How are you doing? So good to see you. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We got Gaz here, some in the house as well. Hills Have Eyes remake has not been listed yet. Neither has the original. I don't recall. So I don't even think we've seen the original. Love Prevenge says Manny's Manic Media. Welcome on in, Manny. Hey, it looks like we have a handful of new people joining in. Guys, we've got a poll in the chat. And don't forget to hit that like button. That way we get some more folks joining us as we cruise on through. Let's go ahead and jump into our next batch of films. Here we go. So, number 69. Nice. So wait, Prevenge and then Revenge. Okay, interesting. Very interesting that those just happen to be next to each other, just like Wes Craven's New Nightmare and Scream were right next to each other. Very, very curious. This is one I haven't seen. I think I had just heard of this movie maybe last year. It was either on one of those What Culture lists or some other thing that I had totally missed. So, Coralie Farragut. What did this person recently direct? I recognize this name very, very recently. It makes me want to just look it up right now as we're chatting. That way I don't have to rely completely on you guys, although I love relying on you guys. I guess I'll just play a little bit of host right here. Oh, did they do The Substance? Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. As I'm like looking it up on IMDb, I'm like, oh, it's The Substance. It's definitely The Substance. So there we go. Question answered. Yeah, I guess I got to check out Revenge because I really enjoyed The Substance. Jen is enjoying a romantic getaway with her wealthy boyfriend until his two sleazy friends arrive for an unannounced something terrible. Okay. All right. Exploitation framework while adding a timely yet never less than viscerally thrilling feminist spin. Okay. Yeah, I could be into that. Shaun of the Dead at number 68 here, higher than Dawn of the Dead. Interesting. It's almost like one movie wouldn't exist without the other movie, but let's go ahead and rank it higher just because it's newer. How about that? Shaun of the Dead's great. it may be right about this spot on my top 100. You know, like number 60. Yeah, like I can see it being right in this spot because I'd probably give the more horror leaning stuff a little more credit towards the front end of the list, or you know, the top of the list, as it were. So, but I really love Shaun of the Dead. This is one that I saw in the theater because I just heard little murmurs about it, and it really, you know, kind of popped off. And you know, for us people out here in the States, we didn't know these performers, and like we didn't, you know, we weren't watching stuff like Spaced, and there was another show I think that some of these actors were on, and I don't know if Edgar Wright was writing and directing on those shows. He may have been, but yeah, this was like a nice little, especially for people that live in the States that, you know, weren't up on British TV at the time. This was like such a refreshing surprise. Shaun of the Dead's really fun. Great zombie film. Drag Me to Hell from 2009 by Sam Raimi at number 67. I am pretty surprised that this is as high as it is. I don't know if I've seen this since the theater. I might have watched it once after. But I love the kind of Evil Dead 2 tone that we're going with here. Like there are scary moments and definitely like a tale of morality kind of thing with a classic gypsy curse. And then just that like dark sense of humor that Sam Raimi has. So Drag Me to Hell might be in my top 100. I think it's, and you know, I've only seen it a couple times. I could be way off. I think it's ranked kind of high right here, just compared to all the great movies that we've seen beneath it. And then I start thinking about, you know, and maybe a lot of people wouldn't put these in their top 50, but there would be some like slasher sequels would probably make it in the top 50 for me on my list, you know. So Drag Me to Hell might make the top 100. Yeah, it might. Cabin in the Woods, this movie is a friggin' riot. It's going to be, I like that we're getting a couple like kind of horror comedies here in a row. I would put this one, yeah, right around that Shaun of the Dead mark. I think what's really fun about this movie is, you know, the dark sense of humor is great. The effects are done really well. They, you know, obviously, you know, take the meta approach and just kind of like poke fun at all the different, you know, tropes of the Cabin in the Woods kind of movie. So, I think this movie's great. Number 66. Okay. Yeah. I could see myself putting it here. Of course, not above Texas Chainsaw, The Evil Dead, The Thing. So many others that were in the 200 to 100. The Invisible Man. This is a modern film that I still have yet to see. I've heard good things about this one. Definitely seems like it's got, you know, that like it's not a straight up horror movie, but it's got those kind of like those 90s thrillers that like borderline on that stuff, like Sliver and Basic Instinct and stuff like that. It seems like it's kind of got that vibe. Of course, like the reverse side of it, right? Like because in those movies that they made a lot of times they made the woman like the praying mantis type like villain or whatever, a villainess. But here in Invisible Man, it seems like, you know, a really good kind of psychological horror with some really tense stuff going on. This is another movie, even though I've never seen it, I have seen so many people like talk about it and dive into it, and I probably know more than I should know about The Invisible Man from 2020. Number 65 on the list. You guys are gonna have to tell me, is this one ranked appropriately? Is it too high? I don't know. The Invisible Man, I guess it's a different take on it, so again, I will applaud them for that. Village of the Damned from 1960. This is a classic that I have not seen. Didn't John Carpenter remake this one? Right? Is this the same one with the creepy kids? Yeah. No. Mysterious Sleep for Several Hours. So it's a little bit different. Or maybe it is. It does have the creepy little kid there with the wide eyes. Okay. So this is the one that he remade. Yeah, I've never seen Village of the Damned from 1960. Gosh, a lot of movies here that I have not yet seen. Like The Cat and the Canary, number 63 here from 1927. I have not seen this one. Bringing its sturdy setup thrillingly to life, The Cat and the Canary proves Paul Leany as a director with a deft hand for suspenseful stories and expertly assembled ensembles. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, never heard of that one. Let me know if you're a classic movie fan. 94%. That's pretty strong. House of Wax from 1953. Another Vincent Price film. Oh my gosh. I think I've seen this so many years ago, but I just watched the remake like 2 weeks ago. And the remake reminded me of Tourist Trap, maybe even more so than this movie here. Yeah, another Vincent Price classic here. Number 62, House of Wax, 93%. It's been so long for me that it's difficult for me to say too much about this film. Feels like it's a little high on this list, especially when we think about all the movies behind it here. The Devil's Candy, number 61 from 2015. This is a movie that I've heard of, but I've not ever seen. Ethan Embry, huh? Okay. I don't think I recognize the other performers' names here. Sean Byrne, directed by Sean Byrne. You guys are gonna have to let me know on The Devil's Candy 2015. It feels like I've heard of this movie recently. I don't know. Did one of you guys recommend it to me? It's possible. Let me know in the chat. Number 61, and then jumping into number 60, we've got Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978, the classic with Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams. Of course, you've got Leonard Nimoy in here as well. Man, I mean, what can you say? I love the original with Kevin McCarthy, I think it is, in the original film. I love that one so much, but this 1978 version is, I don't think you can say it's not an improvement, right? I mean, it's, again, we were talking last night. I think it came up when the Omen came up on the list, which the Omen was ranked way too low in the 200 to 100 range. And it had come up because I love this look of these movies from the 70s that have just got, it's like everything's like brown or beige. There's just like a gloominess to it. Like they made all these movies when it was like overcast. There's just like a gritty kind of gloomy look to a lot of these movies. There's a hopelessness about a lot of the horror from the 70s that I find very fitting. And not only that, but I just think it's kind of cool that there's just that theme in that decade. So I appreciate that you can look at these movies and be like, oh, another 70s horror movie that looks like gloomy and gray and like very, very unhappy. And we are not going to get a happy ending either. And Donald Sutherland is not just in this one. What is it? Don't Look Now is another one. Very, very similar. I'm not sure if that's 70s. Maybe it's early 80s, but it seems like it's right around the same time. What a fun era of film. And that is number 60 there. I'm going to see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Let's see what we got. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is awesome. Yes. Devil's Candy is good, but not great, says Ben Grimm. So probably pretty high on the list there. Too high by your estimation. Devil's Candy is hardcore. Vincent Price was in Thriller. Well, he did the voiceover. Is he in it? Does he appear in the video also? That would be wild. Nanette loves The Cat and the Canary. Vincent Price movies are always good. Matt prefers the remake to House of Wax, which again seems way more like a remake to Tourist Trap. I don't know. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right about that. I recently watched Tourist Trap as that's one of the 30-ish movies I saw this spooky season for the very first time. A recent fan of Cat and the Canary, had a great gimmick. Okay, so this movie's getting a lot of love, The Cat and the Canary. Slasher Fred says it's a classic. What's happening, Herbert? How you doing, bud? So great to see ya. Invisible Man is good. I don't know if I put it that high. I prefer The Carpenter, Village of the Damned. Yeah, and I'm guessing we're not going to see that one here. Oh, Yan, just wait till we get into the top 10. A bunch of movies I've never seen. Yep. Bunch of movies I've never seen. Invasion of the Body Snatchers should be higher than this. I am not going to fault you for that opinion, Nanette. I think a lot of people would put Invasion of the Body Snatchers higher than 60. Yeah. Don't Look Now is 73 or something. Similar kind of look, yeah. That beige brown. Would Last House on the Left remake make your top 100 list, Davey? I've not seen the remake. I've seen the original, Matt, but I've not seen the remake. Let's see here. Brett, thank you so much for kicking it with us, man. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I feel like the House of Wax remake pays homage to many movies, Tourist Trap being one of them. Also, Waxworks. Yeah, that Waxwork movie, the first one, I think there's a sequel. The first one I quite enjoyed. Okay, I'm going to have a sip and we're going to keep on rolling. All right, number 59, The Fly from 1986. I'm putting this way higher on my list. I'm just going to say I love these 80s remakes, The Thing, The Fly, and The Blob. That's probably how I would rate them as far as how much I enjoy them, but I enjoy all of them so very much. And I would put The Fly, I could see it in my top 30 horror movies of all time, at least. Love that movie. I think it's ranked too low. There it is, Jamie. Don't look now, and you were right. 1973. How about it? And I have yet to see this movie. I know. Wow, Julie Christie looks pretty cute. Pretty damn cute there. Yeah, this movie, again, on all the What Culture lists, it pops up all over the place. I have not seen this one, but it seems to be like it's one that I gotta put on the list. In fact, what I'm gonna do after the stream is I'm gonna scroll through this list. I'm gonna make sure I'm adding them. I have a running list on my phone on a note, and I'm just gonna make sure I'm adding all of these because I don't want to miss any of them. It makes it a lot easier when I'm deciding what to watch, that I just like pick one. Just pick one, Davey, and just watch it. The Night of the Hunter, man, this is another one that I've heard is like one of the scariest like thrillers. You know, Robert Mitchum back in the day just has this haunting look in this film. I mean, I've seen, you know, video essays on this, and I know I've even seen people that get like he's got some sort of tattoo on his knuckles, and I've seen people that get the same thing on their knuckles. But this just seems like kind of like a little bit of a, well, I don't want to say too much because I haven't even seen it, so I'd probably just be talking out of my ass. But yeah, I think it's the Reverend Harry Powers, a religious fanatic. Is this the one where somebody like gets out of prison and like kind of goes after their cellmate's family, like infiltrates the cellmate's family or something like that? I don't know. I could be wrong. Night of the Hunter. It's got to be put on my list. 93%. I don't, you know, that doesn't surprise me based on what I've heard of this movie. And I would say at number 57, it's probably very appropriately placed. The Devil's Backbone from 2001 from Guillermo del Toro. Huh. I might have heard of this movie in passing, but I haven't heard many people talking about this one. You guys are going to have to tell me about The Devil's Backbone from 2001. Is this, you know, I mean, Del Toro's been making fabulous horror movies for a really, really long time. I mean, talk about style. He's got, what, Frankenstein's coming out in like just a handful of days here as of the you know, filming or the streaming of this this program here. So he's still cooking. Devil's Backbone 01. Never seen it. Let me know what you guys think. Is it ranked too high? I'll tell you what is ranked too high. The Host from 2006. This movie never did it for me. I tried watching this one a couple times. Not into the effects. Bad. Very bad. Completely took me out. Bong Joon-ho. Isn't this the guy that did Parasite? Is this the same guy that just won an Academy Award like a handful of years ago? Yeah, this one just didn't, I don't know. I was like, out of all the friggin' like kaiju-ish kind of movies we have, like this one just looked like low rent. It looked like a sci-fi channel movie. I can't believe this is at number 55. This would not be in my top 200 at all. Raw from 2016. I have not heard of this movie. Stringent vegetarian Justine encounters a decadent, merciless, and dangerously seductive world during her first week at veterinary school. Huh. Interesting. This sounds like a very, very dark sort of film. Yeah, this seems like a very grim subject matter if it is what I'm thinking it is. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's something totally different. I've never seen it. Raw from 2016, number 54. Probably ranked too high. Here we go. Alien 1979. This is probably another top 30 for me. This is my favorite movie in the Alien franchise. I adore this movie. It's a creature feature. It's a sci-fi film. It's a slasher. It's a haunted house movie. Like, what isn't Alien when it comes to genre filmmaking? Well, it's not a comedy. I guess you could say that. But it feels like very 2001 A Space Odyssey influenced. I love the slow, deliberate nature of the film, you know, as we get to know everyone and as we get to be in space with the characters. I love it. The world building is fantastic in Ridley Scott's Alien from 1979. And for me, I'm going to rank it a lot higher than number 53, but I'm relieved that it's not ranked at 153. Us. I have not seen Us. I have not seen any of Jordan Peele's movies. I don't know. They just don't seem to be my cup of tea. I've watched reviews of them. They seem like Twilight Zone-y a little bit. They just don't seem like they're really up my alley as far as horror films go. I love his comedy. I mean, Key and Peele's friggin' hilarious. I don't know. This brand of elevated horror, like when you can see the lesson coming like a million miles away, I'm just not interested. Number 52. And so that means I'm guessing that Get Out's probably going to be like a top 10. That's what I would imagine. Weapons at number 51 here. Brand new Weapons from Zach Kreger. This is way overrated here. Weapons didn't even really feel very horror to me. So maybe it's in my top 200. Maybe. Gosh, the first 2/3 I enjoyed a lot more than Barbarian. But I would say the movies are probably pretty equal to me as far as like final score would go. I love Julia Gardner and Josh Brolin. I think Weapons has fantastic acting. I'll give it to all the acting, you know. But I don't think it's really that impressive other than that. So yeah, Weapons, I don't know. I don't know if it's hitting my top 200. Suspiria from 1977. This is a good pick at number 50. Although they call it a giallo here in the critics' consensus, this is like where people just use the word giallo because it's Italian, and it's like they don't know what the term actually means. Because Suspiria is not a giallo movie, and it's not even close to being a giallo movie. It's a surreal cult movie about witches at a dancing school, right? So there's no black-gloved killer or that kind of stuff going on. We do have like the color, the really, you know, Bava kind of like set the tone for, you know, the way color would be used in Italian horror films. And Suspiria, you know, shows that to great example. Very, very surreal, very dreamlike, very stylized, just not giallo, but damn good. And I think, yeah, number 50, I think that's fair for Suspiria. Fantastic soundtrack. So let me jump in and see what you guys are saying here. Let's see what we got. Night of the Hunter is really good. It's not scary by today's standards, but his character is scary. Oh, so I am thinking about the right thing. Okay. Yeah, so it seems like it's got a little bit of that Cape Fear vibe. And wasn't Robert Mitchum in Cape Fear as well? Night is a work of genius. Oh, Night of the Hunter. Gotcha. Let's see here. It's been referenced in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Okay, Love and Hate in the Form of Gold Chains. Okay, so that's what he has on his hands. Okay. I like The Devil's Backbone, but it requires subtitles, so I need to be in the mood to watch it. I've been putting subtitles on everything lately, just because a lot of movies I've seen a million times, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's being said like in the background, and I didn't even know, but they'll put it in the subtitles. Let's see here. I don't think the host is even top 200. Yeah, not a fan. I don't think the host had a very big budget. Well, yeah, and so, you know, it did what it could do, but man, it's ranked very, very high. Yeah. Raw is good, but weird placement here, says Aaron. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of more modern movies that are just going to be getting the edge because they're newer, pretty much. I don't recommend Raw to the faint of heart. Thank you. Raw is a pretty gross movie. Is it about people eating people? That's what I'm guessing. Raw is about people eating people. Probably what you're thinking. Very dark. Yeah. Alien would be in my top 30. There we go. Alien is top 15. Dead of Night from 46 can be viewed as one of the first anthology. Interesting. Yeah, I've never seen that one. I do love a good anthology. Alien at 53. What? Shame on them, says Jamie. Alien was great. Yes, Alien should be higher. Let's see here. Alien should be much higher, says Linda. Top 15 for me. Hell yeah. Alien isn't a rom-com, although maybe the alien has a thing for Ripley. I guess rom-coms could be considered genre filmmaking. Peel is 3 for 3 for me. All great. Yeah, at some point I got to sit down and just watch all 3. Yeah. Us is almost a horror version of the classic Twilight Zone episode Mirror Image. Yeah. Well, I would say Twilight Zone's pretty horror, right? Us being this high is insane. Okay, so it is based on that. Okay, there we go. I don't like Jordan Peele movies, but Get Out was amazing. There we go. Okay, let's see here. What do we got? Weapons is my #1 favorite movie of 2025. Jason, I'm so pumped that you dug that one. I wanted to love it so much, and for the first 2/3, I really was, and then it just lost me, unfortunately. The third act, without diving too much into it, I think I have a full review on the channel. Yeah, they just kind of lost me with, I felt like we spent too much time with Gladys, and the mystery started to, like, you know, the mystique just flew right out the window. And then a whole bunch of plot holes started entering my mind after. Like, the police really gave up on searching for this kid, or they really gave up on searching for the other kids, and they really gave up on pushing, you know, where the parents are, what's really going on at this house. This little kid is out there getting groceries. It just seems like at some point the police would have pushed a little harder. Okay, let's see what else we got. I love Suspiria. It's a feast for the eyes. It is. Yeah, Weapons wasn't bad. I like Weapons, but won't be even in my best of the 2020s. There you go. Weapons and Bring Her Back are my favorites of the year. And I would say both of those movies were 3 out of 5 for me. I thought I would like both of them more, honestly. Yeah, I think, you know, Filippo brothers are great, though. I would give Talk to Me the edge over Bring Her Back, but both movies are so well made, man. I think they're better filmmakers than Zach Kreger, for sure. Yeah. Recency bias, yep. Oh, yeah, Suspiria is fantastic. Both versions of Cape Fear. I love him. He's in Scrooged. He's hilarious in Scrooged. What's happening, Brad? How are you doing? My good buddy Brett Patrick. What's happening, bud? Suspiria remake was underrated. Maybe it's going to be in here. I don't know. The opening of Suspiria is pretty brutal. And you know what? I still need to see that remake. Every time I go and I'm like thinking about watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like 3 hours long or however long it is. I think it's like 240 or something crazy like that. So it just but it looks amazing. The remake looks amazing, and I've heard incredible things about it. So let's get into this top 50. This is going to be wild, guys, because The Thing is like 100 spots back, along with The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, Scream is back there. I'm trying to think of all the other wild shit that we've seen. So I just can't believe The Thing was as low as it was. Let's crack into the top 50 with number 49. Nosferatu the Vampire from 1979. This is the Werner Herzog version. And I've not seen this version with Klaus Kinski. I've seen every other version of Nosferatu, it feels like. I've seen all this Dracula story just told countless times. And this is one that I've never seen. So you guys are going to have to let me know. Is this one better than Eggers' Nosferatu, which I thought was fine. It was good. It was very well made. It just didn't really like hit me. I don't know. Is this the version of Nosferatu to check? Is this the definitive one? Let me know in the live chat, or if you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. And hey guys, if you haven't hit that like button, make sure to click it. Click the like, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel, hype the video. If you're digging this stream, if you dig this kind of content, hit that hype button and share the love. Let's get some other people on board. We are marching towards 2,000 subs. We're less than 100 away. So yeah, every little bit that you guys do to share the channel, it helps a lot more than when I share it. I'll tell you that much. And here we are, A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984 is sitting in at number 48. This one maybe would be like top 30, maybe for me. I just, A Nightmare on Elm Street is my least favorite out of the big three. But I think this first movie is the best one. So I'm not going to hate on it at number 48, but there's no way in hell this movie's better than The Thing. Yeah, no way. Reanimator from 1985 at number 47. This movie is a riot. Very darkly funny. Stuart Gordon classic with Jeffrey Combs and, of course, Barbara Crampton, or as I like to call her, B Cramps. She's my girl. I'll watch anything with Barbara Crampton in it. And yeah, Reanimator from 85, total classic. Kind of uncomfortable to watch this one with a lady. I thought it was a lot funnier and a lot more entertaining, and then I watched it with this girl that I was dating, and I was like, this feels different now. But still, I love Reanimator. I think this is a solid spot in the top 50. The Birds from 1963. Man, this movie really doesn't work for me. Very easily one of the lesser Hitchcock movies of the movies I've seen. I would say like Rope and Vertigo are better. And whether or not you want to say either of those movies are horror, I think Vertigo's scarier than The Birds. It's way more psychological, but I think it's scarier than The Birds. I think Rope is just more interesting. Psycho's probably going to be higher on the list, so we haven't even got there yet. But yeah, The Birds just sort of falls flat. Doesn't have very much music, and Hitchcock was always really good at picking a score that went along with the movies that he made so very well. The Birds to me just feels a little out of place for Hitchcock. It just doesn't feel quite right. And I think Rod Taylor here, he was in the Time Machine movie from back in the day as well. I've not enjoyed his performances, and I don't like his look, so I'm a jerk about The Birds. Carrie from 1976. I think this is the second Brian De Palma movie we've had on this list. I think Carrie is fine. Carrie's good. 94%. That's pushing it a little bit too much for me. I think I like the idea of Carrie more than I like the, how it all came together. But it's good. Number 45, I think that's too high for me. Maybe it is in my top 100. But I would enjoy like some slasher sequels more than I would enjoy Carrie from 1976. That's just me. Frankenstein from 1931. This one's really good. James Whale is awesome. I don't know. Bride of Frankenstein, I'd imagine, is probably going to be like very, very much higher, because I would say that's a superior movie. Hopefully it's on this list, because I'll have a freak out if it's not on the list. But Frankenstein from 1931, I think, maybe this is in my top 100. Maybe, Bride of Frankenstein probably cracks the top 50 to 75. I don't know if the original would be in there. I don't know. I'd have to watch it again. It's been a little bit since I've seen the original. Bride of Frankenstein, I try to watch every couple years. Aliens from 1986. Now, this is way too high for me. Way too high. I mean, it's higher than Alien, which is a problem for me anyways, because I think Alien is better. I think Aliens is really fun. I'm glad that it's different than the original, for sure. That it still stays in that world, but that it's a genre switch, a little more action driven, but still you could definitely call it a horror. I don't know, this one, Aliens is probably in my top 100. I think 43 is pretty high for me, but I think that's one of the things with the Alien franchise, like most people, it's the first movie or the second movie that is their favorite in the franchise, right? So if Aliens is your favorite, then you're gonna want it. Maybe you're going to say it's in your top 30 or top 20 if that's your favorite film in this franchise. But I prefer the first one. So I think 43 is actually a little too high for me here, I think. All right. Housebound from 2014. Never even heard of this movie. What is this? Alternately hilarious, gross, and simply diverting, Housebound is the rare horror comedy that delivers on both fronts. I've never heard of this thing. I don't know. Housebound from 2014, 95%. And it's number 42. Think of all the movies that it is higher. Wow. Huh. I'm kind of blown away here, especially that a horror comedy would be this high. I'm just going to move on past it. Dead of Night from 1945. So this is a horror anthology. All right. I have not seen this movie, but I love horror anthologies. We had Slasher Fred was just talking about horror anthologies, dropping one from was it the 40s? Is this the one you brought up, Slasher Fred? And I'm just like already forgetting because I've been talking about a million movies in the last 2 days. This might have been the one that you had just put in the chat. So yeah, Dead of Night, 1945, 96% here at number 41. That is that's some high praise here. The original The Fly from 1958, another Vincent Price classic. This movie is when they say deliciously funny to some and eerily prescient to others, The Fly walks a fine line between schlocky fun and unnerving nature parable. Yeah, I think there is something funny about this movie in a really good way. I way prefer the remake, the David Cronenberg Fly. I think is way better. I don't know if this version of The Fly makes my top 100. Not saying that it's not a classic. I just don't know if it, can touch the other movies that I would put in my top 100. Looking at this list makes me want to do a top 100. Is that something I should aim for by the end of the year? Should I do a top 100 horror movies of all time and maybe break them up into chunks? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comment section down below what I should do about that, because it seems like this is something that if I'm going to talk shit, should I get involved and actually put my money where my mouth is? I think maybe I should. I don't know. You guys let me know in the live chat. I do whatever you tell me to do because I live to serve. What can you do? Let's see here. Ooh, Suspiria should be in the top 10, maybe top 5. Is that what you're talking about, Suspiria? Or are you talking about Nosferatu from the 70s? This Nosferatu is really good. Klaus Kinski is pretty intense. Aaron says, what the fuck? Elm Street is top 20. The original Elm Street? I can see that. I know a lot of people love Freddy a lot more than I do. I'll say that. It's my favorite in the franchise, Aaron. Top 20, maybe. I don't know. Now that I've seen all these movies in the top 200, I start thinking about top 20. I'm like, how many times have I said top 20? That's what's making me think, ooh, I should just make my own list, right? And have to make those difficult decisions. And if I break it up into 25 a video, it could be a fun little series. Meh, the 79 Nosferatu is meh. You had to get 2 mehs in there. That's how meh it is. Well, that's not a rousing endorsement there of that one. Too low for Nightmare. Okay. Better than Eggers, yes, but the OG from 22 is still the best. All right. Elm Street at 48, no, should be top 20. Okay. Well, I'm clearly, you got a lot of you guys, I think, would put it in the top 20 at the very least, it sounds like. Yeah. The original Nightmare can be seen as a sequel to Last House on the Left? How? I don't know. I don't think so, Slasher Fred. But how? Because it's Last House on the Left is a more grounded kind of movie, I thought the new Nosferatu was more style over substance. Anyone else? Well, yeah. Beautiful looking film. I'm just so bored of that story. Yeah. Elm Street should be at least top 20. Yeah. Maybe. Prefer Dream Warrior, says Matt. I'm thinking in real time of all the horror movies that I would put above Elm Street, and I think there's a lot of them. And I'll tell you why. Because Elm Street isn't, while it's a really exciting movie and it's still, I think, the best in the franchise, it's not like they had Dean Cundy shooting the movie the way John Carpenter did with Halloween. So to me, it's not even close to something like Halloween. And then I start thinking about all the other horror films that are, even horror films on this list that aren't as clumsy looking as A Nightmare on Elm Street. The first movie is a little clumsy looking, a little slapdash in certain places. It's not incompetently made or anything like that. It just looks a little, kind of like the original Evil Dead, which I'll be the first one to say I've got plenty of fan bias towards the original Evil Dead, because technically, you know, it's impressive in ambition, and I think some of the effects are really, really cool, like that they did what they did, but it has a little bit of a clumsy kind of look, right? That's all I mean. So I start thinking about all of that when assessing. But again, if I do my own top 100, I'll have to give a criteria before, like what made me rank certain things above, or certain movies above other movies, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the rest of the list here. Holy cow, we're at an hour and a half. Met Stuart Gordon once. He was so nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. Did he recently pass? I think he did. I like the documentaries about the birds more than the birds. Yeah. Rear Window is my favorite Hitchcock besides Psycho. Yeah, I would say like, yeah, Psycho is maybe like my fourth favorite out of, you know, Vertigo, Rope, Rear Window, and then Psycho. Probably. Yeah, the birds would be at the bottom for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and cruise on down. Frankenstein would be top 30 for me, says Aaron Click. Aliens is in no way better than Alien. Carrie's a good movie for sure. Yeah. Let's see here. I prefer Aliens over Alien, but both would be in top 30. Nice. That is a rare opinion. I mean, just that they would be, you know, I would imagine they'd be so relatively close. I prefer Aliens. I'd put it higher. I got love for Aliens. I just love Alien more. Alien is better, but Aliens is great also. There you go. Don't know Housebound. Yeah, Housebound was boring. Okay. Never heard of Housebound. And there it is. So highly ranked, but we've never even heard of it. Do I find Rhys Darby funny? I think Rhys Darby's hilarious. I've seen some of his stand-up, and then, of course, very, very funny in the Flight of the Conchords TV show. Where else did I see him? Maybe he was somewhere else. Only if Scream makes the cut. Scream would probably be top 20 for me. The first one? Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's go ahead and... Did I just see mess for out too? Yeah, both of you guys. Hilarious. Love it. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and jump into number 39 here on the list. We are still here from 2015. I am surprised to see this movie this high on this list, just because I don't hear a lot of people talking about this movie, but it is based on the score. 95% is a very good score here for this film, starring Barbara Crampton and Lisa Marie, as well as Larry Fessenden. Ted, I think it's Gogin, or Gagan, I think is how you say his name. Very great job doing the direction on this one. We Are Still Here is fantastic. Number 39, maybe that's a little high. I think so. I could see myself putting this in the top 50 though, maybe closer to 50, but I really love We Are Still Here. If you love a good slow burn haunted house movie, or you like a wintry kind of horror movie, We Are Still Here is fantastic. I've seen this movie a handful of times. I love it. I love it a lot. It's really damn good. And the first time I watched this movie, I had downloaded it on like a tablet, and I'm watching it on a plane ride and freaking out. I'm like jumping in my seat and looking around to make sure nobody sees me jumping, like a little kid frightened of this movie. 1961's The Innocents, number 38. This has been recommended to me in the chat more than once, and this is a movie I have yet to see. I think even Evan from Rockland Graves recommended this, and other people have backed up that recommendation in the chat. So 95% at number 38 here. Another movie I have to add to the list, but it seems like maybe number 38 is a good spot for this one. All right, The Invisible Man, the original Invisible Man from 1933 with Claude Rains, another James Whale directed film. I haven't seen this one since I was a kid. I would imagine it's got to be, I mean, James Whale was such a great director. I can't imagine this movie being bad. I guess I'm a little surprised to see it this high on the list, just because out of all of the Universal monsters and everything, we just don't hear this one brought up as much. I think like it's not talked about the way that Dracula the Wolfman or Frankenstein, or even honestly, at least from the people that I'd talk to, Creature from the Black Lagoon would get more love than something like The Invisible Man. So maybe I need to do like a whole revisit to the Paramount and Universal classics of like the 30s and 40s. Maybe that's something I could focus on for like halfway to Halloween or something like that, and revisit some of these movies that I haven't seen since I was a kid. Because number 37 seems pretty high to me. Maybe it is a total banger, but I just think of a lot more like movies in the probably like 70s, 80s, and in the last couple 90s, and just ever since then, I probably put those in there a little bit more than something from 1933. So I don't know, feels like it's ranked a little high for me. Todd Browning's Freaks. This is another classic I've not yet seen. So what else did Todd Browning, what else did he direct? Because I feel like I hear his name pop up every now and then. But Freaks, this one is wild, right? Like, oh, he did friggin' Dracula. I have to roll my eyes at myself like, dude, you're such a dumbass for not knowing that off the top of your head. Yeah, so he directed Dracula as well, just the year before directing Freaks. And this is famous for actually having real, circus freaks. I mean, I don't know what, I'm sure there's a more politically correct term, but I'm just going to use the term that they use here. I don't know. Is the legacy of this film tainted because does it feel like it's exploitative? I've never seen it. So I know the One of Us, Google Gobble or Geeble Gobble or whatever it is. I know all of that comes from this, and that's where the Ramones got their Gabba Gabba Hey and all that kind of stuff. For the I think it's We're a Happy Family is the song. But yeah, I've never seen Freaks. Let me know in the chat if you recommend it. If you're watching after the fact, let me know. And guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already, and participate in the poll that's in the chat. There we go. Night of the Living Dead from 1968, number 35. Now, I'm guessing this is one that Chester Franklin Jr. would put probably in his top 10, at least his top 20, because I know this is his favorite of the Romero zombie films. And I think Night of the Living Dead is great. I prefer day and dawn to night. And depending on the day, I might even put Land of the Dead just as something like I was saying yesterday, sometimes I don't find myself craving to watch a movie so much, but Land of the Dead is one where I'm like, ooh, I could totally go for Land of the Dead. But I'm one of those weirdos that's like, I will be carrying the torch for Land of the Dead because I think there's so much more there than a lot of people see. And I think maybe it's one of those movies too that a lot of people didn't really go back to if they decide they didn't enjoy it very much. But I do think Land of the Dead is far better than its reputation. But here, Night of the Living Dead from 1968, I mean, it's the movie that started the zombie genre as we know it. It created a bunch of the rules. It's wild. It's a beautiful looking black and white film. I really love the effects. I think the acting is like 50-50 here. There's some really great performances. Dwayne Jones is awesome here. I believe it's Carl Hardman. Is really good as well. I'm trying to think of the name of the character he plays. Is it Carl Hardman? I think it is. Or maybe his character's name is Carl. I don't know. Anyways, Night of the Living Dead changed the way I looked at film. When I saw this in high school, it was like The Evil Dead, Night of the Living Dead, and Dawn of the Dead. It changed the way I looked at movies forever. And like, even though I was into horror when I was a kid, it's movies like Night of the Living Dead that kicked off like a resurgence of horror love in my teens, that maybe just kind of waned a little bit because boobs, I think was probably why. I was distracted, guys. This to me is wild. The Love Witch at number 34. I'm just gonna say it, guys. I don't know, maybe this is an unpopular opinion. I couldn't finish this movie. It was gross. Like gross, not in an entertaining way, just like icky, and not funny, and not, I don't know. There was nothing about this movie as I was sitting there watching it, trying to the aesthetics, I guess. I'll say that. I like that it looked like it was from the late 60s or early 70s. It has like that Hammer film kind of look. That's it for me with The Love Witch. I am blown away that this is number 34. Again, like I said, couldn't even finish it. It just didn't reach my expectations for a film that I wanted to spend any more time on. Kind of like The Host. I turned The Host off too. So if you don't reach those expectations and I give you like a half hour or more and we're still not there, goodbye. Just kind of, I can't believe The Love Witch is here at number 34. I don't know. Maybe it's like a thing that like maybe it's really good or more appealing to the ladies. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. It wouldn't even be in my top 200. Train to Busan. Now this is a really fun movie and it's ranked way too high, folks. Let's just cool the speed on the Train to Busan, because this movie is really good, but it's not better than Night of the Living Dead. I'm kind of shocked that it's ranked higher than that. It squeaked into my top 10 zombie movies of all time. And mainly, I was about to say mostly, and then mainly, I like that what they add to the lore of the zombies. I really do. Even though the zombies are fast here, and I prefer the shambling zombies, like whatever. I mean, that's fine. Like you can have fast zombies and still be a great movie. See Dawn of the Dead 2004. And Train to Busan does a really good job of the fast zombies. And I like just the way that they switch up, like in the dark, they can't see or they don't really move. Like just the little lore changes they make. This movie's got a devastating ending. Everyone always brings up the ending. I just think that's not unique to Train to Busan. It's another thing that they kind of took from Romero, which I appreciate. I think a lot of the stuff that's taken from Romero in Train to Busan is done so very lovingly and very it's an open-handed homage. They're not trying to act like they've invented the thing. But what I worry about, because it's very difficult to trust that people are going to do their due diligence out in the audience, I worry that a lot of people that love Train to Busan, maybe they have not seen these other classic movies, and maybe that's why Train to Busan's ranked at number 33. Maybe it makes my top 100. I could see it making my top 100, but I'm not like goo goo gaga over Train to Busan. Silence of the Lambs, is it horror? Is it? I don't know. Good movie. Jonathan Demme knocked it out of the park. For somebody that started with Roger Corman, it's amazing that he's achieved, what he's achieved as a filmmaker. And this movie won Best Picture, so that's pretty awesome. I just don't know if I call it a horror movie. It has like a couple horrific things. Hannibal is, I would say, a horror movie way more than Silence of the Lambs, for sure. Silence of the Lambs is like a cop drama with a couple horror scenes. But it's so interesting to see how these terms get molded when a movie is a major motion picture with huge stars in it. They will call a movie like Silence of the Lambs horror because it has the slightest bit of those elements, But yeah, I don't know. It Follows, still haven't seen it. I know Jamie hates it, and I know a lot of people love it. That's all I know about It Follows. No, not really. Looks like it's beautifully shot. I know the Disaster Piece soundtrack is one that a lot of people really love. I have not seen It Follows. I have a tough time believing that it's the number 31 best horror movie of all time, though. And then here we got number 30. We've got Dracula with Bela Lugosi. This is an absolute classic. The Spanish version of Dracula is really good as well. Shot at the same exact time using the same sets, but they did it in a totally different way. So it's kind of cool that these two films sort of, exist. They coexist together in that sense. And yeah, I mean, Bela Lugosi is Dracula. It's about as classic can be. So number 30, I think a little too high. I think other movies that we've seen on this list are much better than Dracula. It's probably going to make my top 100 though. And let me jump in and see what you guys are saying. Jeff Down is Up became a YouTube channel member. Thank you so much, Jeff. Really appreciate you. Is this your first time hanging up or hanging out? I said hanging up because your name says Down is Up. Is this your first time kicking it with us? Welcome, man. You are kicking it with the Death Squad, and hope you're having a great time. Yeah, thriller, not a horror. Yeah. Oh, but Chester says it is horror. Absolutely love Silence of the Lambs, but I'm not sure it's a horror movie, like you said. Yeah. It Follows is boring, says Ashton. I hate It Follows, but I get why people like it. It's just, Not for me. Silence of the Lambs is definitely horror. The antagonist skins women to make suits. That's horror. But it's like Alien and Jaws. It fits into multiple genres. As far as I remember, though, we don't ever see that. The skinning, do we? Do they ever show it? I don't know. Yeah. But whatever. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, people say that about Jaws too, and or Jaws as well. You know, I'm not going to tell someone Jaws isn't a horror movie. I think it's so much more that to call it horror just really limits it, because there's so much going on in that one. Yeah. Land of the Dead is my favorite, but Night of the Living Dead, it's a movie that is always going to be my second. It was the first horror movie I ever watched. There you go. I love The Love Witch. It's made for women. Yeah. It is icky. I'll just say that. Ugh. Icky. Night of the Living Dead, 1968, should be number 29 in Chester's opinion. He's very specific. Aaron Click says Night of the Living Dead is top 20. Why did Barbara die? Well, she just got dragged out by her brother, right? Yeah. I think the film Freaks is actually pretty sympathetic to them. It's been viewed as on both sides of the argument in the past, but I think it's settled as a positive in recent years. Well, it certainly is positive that they even got to be in a movie, you know, because I would imagine for people that looked different that way, you'd probably be playing a creature or something instead of like actually being able to represent like your true self, you know, on screen. So yeah, but I'll have to give Freaks a watch for sure. Okay, let's keep on rolling because we are approaching the 2-hour mark, and I know it's getting late for folks, and it's getting late for me. It's been a lot of talking. So let's go ahead and cruise through. Let's break the top 30 down in 15s, shall we? Peeping Tom, I love Peeping Tom. It would probably be a top 30 on my list. I prefer it to its 1960 counterpart, Psycho. I think, I mean, they're very different. They're not like, I think the only thing that's similar about them is they're both proto slashers and they came out in 1960. But I love Peeping Tom. I think it's so good. It's been a handful of years since I've seen it. I definitely need to give it another watch, but I found the way you feel sympathy for the villain in this movie is something that's so different and so unique and really makes the movie stand out. So top 30 sounds appropriate for me. Repulsion from 1965 by Roman Polanski. I have not seen this movie. First English film follows a schizophrenic woman's descent into madness and makes the audience feel as claustrophobic as the character. Okay. So I couldn't tell by looking at the poster. I'm like, is this supposed to be some sort of giallo? And then I look over and I'm like, oh, schizophrenic woman's descent into madness. So a little bit more of that surreal kind of feel here. Yeah, I have not. I feel like the name sounds familiar, but I have not seen this one. You guys let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments section your thoughts on Repulsion. Is this a fair ranking spot for it here on this list? I don't know. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Now, I love this movie. Number 27, I think, is too high for it because it's not like a full-length feature. It's a pretty short movie. You know, it's beautiful, though. I mean, the expressionist backgrounds and just the way it's got a stage play look in addition to shooting on location, it's really creepy. And it's got, I mean, maybe one of the first like twist endings, 1919. It's gotta be like, I don't want to give anything away here. If you've not seen the original Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, totally worth your time to watch this film. It's really, really entertaining. I think 27 is too high just based on, it's just so short. I don't think it could compete with other movies that I would put in the top 30. La Llorona from 2019. What? Didn't this movie 96%? Oh, is the one that I'm thinking of called The Curse of La Llorona, and this is the actual like Spanish made. Okay. So I've heard of The Curse of La Llorona, which I think is the one people trashed, right? I could be wrong. I don't know. Let me know in the chat, guys. Number 26, huh? Wow, 96%. I have a tough time believing that because I haven't heard anyone, singing the praises of a movie called La Llorona. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night from 2014. I have not even heard of this movie. It says on the poster, a new vampire classic, one to treasure endlessly. So it blends conventional elements into something brilliantly original and serves as a striking calling card for writer-director Anna Lily Amirpour. Yeah, Girl Walks Home at Night, 96%, number 25. And I've not even heard of it. The Vanishing from 1988. This is another movie that keeps on getting mentioned, and I've not yet seen it. I believe this is a Dutch film. Number 24 here, The Vanishing from 1988 with a 96%. That is such a high tomato meter ranking for a movie that's, not from the 2000s and after. Just because movies didn't get reviewed as much. But here we go, The Vanishing from 1988. I have seen this one recommended to me so many times in the live chat, and I've still yet to see it, so I know I gotta take that leap. But let me know, guys, The Vanishing, what am I missing out on? Oh, geez, A Quiet Place from 2018. These movies are just, I'm not interested in these movies. I don't know what it is. Is it because it's John Krasinski? Maybe it is. Maybe because it's got Jim's face all over it. I don't know. I'm probably just being a dick, but I'm kind of blown away that A Quiet Place is in the top 25 horror movies of all time. People, all time. That's wild to me. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. So we already had the 78. I thought we weren't going to get the original. I love this classic from 1956. As I said, Kevin McCarthy, such a great performer. His role, or his turn as RJ Fletcher in UHF, is like one of my favorite villains of all time, especially in comedy. One of my favorite, but just of all time. I would do like Darth Vader, Michael Myers, and RJ Fletcher from UHF. What, he's just so awesome. And then Connell Cochran is there hanging out with them too. But yeah, I love Kevin McCarthy, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers is so damn good. I love this movie. Black and white movies, I can totally get down with them. And I think this one's just, it's got the goods. It's got the goods, 97%. I'm probably not putting it in my top 25, but I do really, really like this one. Harpoon from 2019. Never even heard of this one. A B movie with an A-level commitment to entertain. Harpoon should hit the target with horror fans in the mood for gory, darkly humorous antics on the open water. 97% from 2019. Never heard of this one. Tell me all about Harpoon and why it's better than The Thing and Dracula and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. This one's way better than Dawn of the Dead, according to this list. A movie Harpoon, whatever that is. Eyes Without a Face. This is a classic that I've not seen, but I have been haunted by the images, people. The non-face face here creeps the hell out of me. And I rightly so. I mean, you guys know that Michael Myers is my favorite of all the slasher villains, and there's something about that mask and not being able to assign any sort of mood or anything or emotion to this mask. And then in Eyes Without a Face, like, I would say even more unsettling, really creepy. I need to watch this movie. Like this movie I can tell is right up my alley. And what is it? Eyes Without a Face. Isn't that a Billy Idol song? That's good stuff. Number 20, Eyes Without a Face. I'm not going to hate on it because at 97% and everything I've heard about this movie, maybe it does deserve to be in the top 20. So there we go. We're going to do 5 more, take a little break, and then close out with the 15 left on the list. There it is, Nosferatu from 1922. So now we are in the top 30. I would say we're getting more of these classics, So the F.W. Murnau Nosferatu from 22 with Max Schreck is, a total classic. This is my preferred version of this story. I mean, I love the Bela Lugosi in Dracula. I like that a whole hell of a lot. But I love what Nosferatu does by technically changing the story and making it a little bit different. But I would still take Bela all day over Count Orlok. There it is, though, number 19. Rosemary's Baby, yet another Roman Polanski movie on this list that I have not yet seen. But this is your classic woman pregnant with the devil's child. So there we go. Something I guess Roman Polanski would know about. No, Poor attempt at a joke there. 97% from 1968. Of course, yeah. Mia Farrow, John Cassavetes, Ruth Gordon. We know her from what's it called? Why can't I think of the name? It's right, Harold and Maude. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I'm like, Benny and June? No, Harold and Maude. Yeah, this is probably one that I need to see. But I haven't seen a lot of Polanski's movies. I don't even know if I've seen. I'd be curious. Did he do? Did he do The Omen? No, that was Richard Donner. Okay, so I don't even know if I've ever seen a Roman Polanski movie. Yeah, talk about not being able to separate the art from the artist, huh? So let's go into number 17 from here, and there we go. We got the original Halloween, which I was hoping was going to be a top 10 movie on this list, but what can you do? 97% here. What can I say about Halloween that hasn't been said before? I think it is an absolute classic. It is the best film in the franchise, and I think number 17 is not high enough. This is probably a top 5 for me, guys. Halloween's probably a top 5. Tigers Are Not Afraid is number 16 from 2017. 97%. Never heard of this movie. This must be another foreign film. Paola Lara, directed by Isa Lopez. So a Spanish film. Tigers Are Not Afraid. I don't know. Never heard of this one. Let me know. Maybe I'm missing out. It's 97%, and it's technically better than John Carpenter's Halloween. And then King Kong at number 15 from 1933. Yeah, King Kong's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's not better than Halloween. Not even close. But there it is at 97%. King Kong is your number 15. And I'm going to check in with you guys one more time, and then we're going to get to the end of this list. So let me see what you guys are saying here. Skip the remake of The Vanishing. Okay, just go with the Dutch version. Insanely high for A Quiet Place. Yeah, probably. Would love to see Children Play on this list. That one is not on there. Not on there yet. Yeah, so Jeff, so this is a Rotten Tomatoes list. If you find the article, at the top of the article, they tell you how they came up with the scores. Basically, they mix the tomato meter with the popcorn meter, and then they, count the positive versus negative reviews. But a lot of newer movies just have more reviews. So that's why we're seeing a lot of newer, movies since the year 2000 on this list. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Haven't seen that one. Santa Maria, California is actually the same place in Halloween 3. Yeah, the same name. Yeah. Quiet Place isn't even 200. Isn't even top 200. Yeah. What are they smoking? It's not good. Is Storm of the Dead? Storm of the Dead? I don't know. Haven't heard of that one. All these movies from the 2010s are ridiculous. Oh yeah, and it's about to get wild. And Jamie's like, I don't even like A Quiet Place. Eyes Without a Face is really good. There we go. Yep, and a great Billy Idol song at that. Nosferatu has some great images, but I do have to say it kind of bores me a little. Yeah, I mean, it's from 1922. Like, I think that's one of the, and I'm not even saying that in a sarcastic way. Like, it just really is, those movies, you have to be in the right mood for them, right? And that's why even Dracula from 1931 isn't incredibly exciting, but I do think it's a little more stylized, I would say, than even Nosferatu. You have to see Rosemary's Baby, incredible film. All right, Jeff, I will add it to the list. Saucy Jack's Boneyard says it's great too. Same with Chester Franklin Jr. All right. Jan is saying it's an absolute classic. The paranoia factor is real. It's great, says Aaron Click. Very spooky, atmospheric vibe. All right. Halloween is top 5, says Saucy Jacks. Yes, absolutely. At least it's top 20 here. Yes, I know. It could have been 175, Halloween from 1978, and that's it. We're very, very happy with that. Let's see what else we got. Tigers Are Not Afraid is really good, but I wouldn't put it up there. Okay. King Kong's a classic, but not 2025. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. I mean, to have it be number 15 here, A weird mix of classics and stuff I've never heard of, says Saucy Jack's Boneyard. Yeah, I would say, like, before I make if I do a top 100, I've got to check off some of these. Like, I have to look at a list of other people's top 100s and make sure that I'm at least watching some of these movies that I've never seen before. It wouldn't be right to do a top 100 and not have, like, put in the time to see things like Rosemary's Baby and all that, you know, Eyes Without a Face as well. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the last, I guess it's just going to be 14 movies here. Let's see how it goes, guys. Psycho from 1960 is number 14. And while I appreciate Psycho for what it is, and I do love the music, and, you know, I like plenty of this movie, I like other Hitchcock movies so much more. And like I said earlier, I prefer Peeping Tom, but I think Psycho's very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ripping on Psycho. It's not in my top 20, but I do think it's a very important film, you know, in the horror genre. So I'm not trying to take anything away from it. It's just not really, you know, doesn't really vibe with me the way it does with a lot of people. And then we got Jaws at number 13. Now, if you're considering Jaws a horror movie, this is going to be like in the top 3 for me. It's my favorite movie of all time. Now, if I were ranking as horror movies, maybe it not necessarily going to take the number 1 spot, because like I said earlier, Jaws is so much more than horror. But if we're going to consider it horror on the list, I've got to have it in one of those top spots since it's my favorite of all time, right? So it's right there with like The Thing, you know, Halloween, The Evil Dead, stuff like that. So it's right there for me. Number 13 on this list, I think, is kind of low, especially nothing against Sinners. But I think Jaws is a lot better than Sinners. And here is Sinners at number 12, 97% from earlier this year. I think this one and Weapons are the only 2 movies from 2025 to crack the list. And I think Sinners is really great. But it's another one of those movies where maybe it gets pushed back on my list because you can call it horror, but there's so much more going on. There's a horror element, but there's a lot of the movie that feels like a Tarantino kind of period piece, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. The movie is great, but number 12, I think, is pretty high here. The Ring from 1998. So Ringu, the original, directed by Hideo Nakata. This movie's really good. Number 11, I think, is a bit too much for me. It's probably going to be in the top 100 because it did freak me out in a way that the American remake, while I enjoyed the American remake, this movie I found to be far more unsettling, for sure. Vampire from 1932. I have not seen this movie. Interesting. Have I even heard of this movie? Tyra Banks is in this movie? Number 10, Vampire. I don't think I've ever heard of this one. I don't know. Massive blind spot. But it sounds like, what is this? I mean, oh, so it's in France. Is it just kind of like a Dracula story, but in France? I don't know. Let me know, guys, in the chat or in the comment section. Number 9, Bride of Frankenstein. I love this movie. It is not a top 10 movie for me, but I do think it's fantastic. Probably a top 50 for me, but I would probably, you know, sway a little more modern with some of these. But man, the effects in Bride are really good, really ahead of their time. Another James Whale just knocking it out of the park, dude. This guy was fearless. What a director. Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein. Not going to bitch about it being at number 9, although I'd probably have it closer to number 20. The Loved Ones from excuse me, The Loved Ones from 2009. I have not yet seen this movie. I am well aware of it. It's been recommended to me. I'm kind of blown away that it's number 8 of all time. I mean, it's been recommended to me, but it's like, you'd think that if this was a top 10 horror movie of all time, people would be falling over themselves to recommend it. Sorry, guys, I had my water go down the wrong pipe, you know. I've only been alive for like 43 and a half years, still figuring out drinking water. So there we go. Moving from number 8, yeah, from The Loved Ones, which, yeah, I mean, I've heard good things. I can't believe it that it's that high. Host from 2020. So not The Host, which was ranked too high. Host, a Shudder original. Interesting. Another Shudder original that's ranked very high on this list. I have not seen Host from 2020. Directed by Rob Savage. Never seen this one. I've heard of it. Never seen it. I don't know. I have Shudder. Let me know, guys, if I should check this one out. Let me know. It's number 7, man. Better than Jaws. Better than Jaws, a movie from 2020 that I've never heard of. Let the Right One In. This is the original. The remake was number 100 on the list, and here we go, jumping all the way 94 spots to number 6 for Let the Right One In from 2008. This is a great vampire movie. No way is it top 10 for me, but I really do think it's great. I would probably put Let the Right One in my top 100. I need to watch it again. I've only seen it. I've seen this one and the original just once each. So, and I thought it was really good. It's a great little spin on the vampire story. So I certainly do appreciate that. I enjoy it a lot more than I enjoy a lot of other vampire stories. The Babadook from 2014, directed by Jennifer Kent. This movie's really good, but it is not a top 10 horror movie. I really enjoy what this movie is saying about dealing with grief, you know, and it really is a psychological horror movie that makes you think it's going to be a, hey, there's actually a monster in your house movie, but it's a little more, it's a bit more of a think piece than that. It's not as cut and dry as that, right? It's not like Sinister or something like that, or like a Conjuring movie or anything like that. It's a lot more thought-provoking, I would say, and I really enjoy The Babadook. I could see myself putting this movie in my top 100. I think number 5 is very, very high. Too high for this one. There we go. We got Get Out from 2017 at the number 4 spot, directed by Jordan Peele. Comes highly recommended by Jamie Hart in the chat there. 98%. Yes. I'd be curious to, at some point I do have to watch Jordan Peele's movies and see if he really is a great storyteller in that sense. Clearly he knows what he's doing behind the camera, and he's hilarious as a comedian. Now, as far as telling stories, is he this great of a storyteller? Or are people just really love him for whatever reason? I don't know. It seems like he is a little bit of a golden boy. Every now and then we have that, right? Like you just notice that in Hollywood, whether it's a actress or an actor or a director or something, where you're just like, oh my gosh, people are just, they're in love with everything this person does. Like, are they really that good? I don't know. Like M. Night was that way for a little bit, and he's certainly not as good as he was looking early in his career. And I even think when you look back at his older movies, they don't really hold up. The Wailing from 2016, man, I tried really hard to enjoy this movie. My guy Coy, Critical Digit is his latest screen name that he's using. Some of you might know him as Happy Sanjo. He recommended this movie to me. I watched it in preparation for a stream we did. It is like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It meanders. It has a really difficult time. Like, it doesn't even know what's going on with its own lore. I find a lot of these Korean movies where, like, our lead characters, I don't like them as people. So I find myself having a tough time being invested in the movies, unfortunately. The Wailing was a total slog for me. It would not be in my top 100. I didn't, yeah, to me, I'm just like, okay, like, things are happening. None of it's really making sense to me. And I was bored, frankly. I was bored with The Wailing. Under the Shadow from 2016. Never heard of this movie. It's number 2. It's at 99%. This must be an Indian movie or a Pakistani movie or something. Just looking at the names here. Iran-Iraq War. So it is a Middle Eastern film. I would imagine. Never heard of this thing, and it's at 99%. And number 2 horror movie of all time, people. Under the Shadow. Has anybody seen it? Let me know. Is it really that good? I don't know. I have a really tough time believing this stuff. Okay, and then our number 1 horror movie of all time out of 200. And remember, The Thing was back in the 100 to 200s, along with The Exorcist, Scream, Texas Chainsaw, The Shining, The Evil Dead, all sorts of stuff like that. Day of the Dead is not even on this list. George Romero's Day of the Dead, which is, to me, the greatest zombie film of all time, is not even on this list. So there are some glaring omissions here. Not one Friday the 13th movie. So you're telling me the final chapter and Jason Lives, they don't deserve a spot in the top 200? I don't know. That's pretty wild to me. It's pretty wild to me. Let's take a look at our number one, and then we will close out this stream. And there it is. Number one is a movie called His House from 2020. It has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and this is a Netflix movie. So another straight-to-streaming movie. This one I've never heard of, featuring genuine scares throughout every corridor. His House is a terrifying look at the specters of the refugee experience and a stunning feature debut for Remy Weeks. Now, I've heard the name Remy Weeks. I'm not sure what else this person's directed, but I've never heard of this movie called His House. And here it is at 100% Rotten Tomatoes score, and it is the number one horror movie of all time. So forget what you thought you knew about The Thing and The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, even Jaws and all of that. We don't even get a Blob remake on here. Nope. The top three are The Wailing, Under the Shadow, and His House. One of these movies I've heard of, and only because somebody asked me to watch it within the last few months. So there we go. I don't even know what to say. Like, I am incredibly disappointed with this list. Yeah, I mean, the top 10, although there's a couple movies in the top 10 that I do enjoy, like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, the recency bias on this, because of them counting all of those reviews, is out of control on this list. And that's where, so I want to talk about this really quick before I jump into your guys' comments. You know, they explain how they get the criteria they use, and so I understand why movies like His House and The Wailing and whatever number two was called, I don't even remember the name because I've never even heard of the movie. So they, at least they explain how they get there. But here's what I'm thinking is, like, so Rotten Tomatoes, so you did all this tomato meter mixed with the popcorn meter, and then you dove into all the reviews, positive or negative, for each movie. So it seems like a lot of, like, there was a lot of aggregating and a lot of, like, statistics that went into creating this top 200 list. Wouldn't it be just as difficult or just as easy to get a hold of Rotten Tomatoes certified reviewers that cover primarily horror movies and have them curate a list of the top 200 horror movies of all time? Tomato meter be damned. Just have people that actually deal with this deal with the genre and all the subgenres they're in, and put together their own list. Wouldn't it be just as much trouble? And then all you have to do is explain yourselves, just like they did in the article here. I mean, I'll show you guys, just for people that are coming in towards the end. They do this whole paragraph here to sort this list, like all of that. Oops, I will highlight that paragraph so you guys can check it out. But yeah, so that paragraph that's highlighted there, at least they explain themselves. You just do that, but you say, hey, we just got a hold of people like Lee is one of the certified, Lee from Drum Dums, he's one of the certified Rotten Tomatoes reviewers. So you just get a hold of some people like that, and you have them curate a list, and you're going to have a way more dynamic and interesting list, I think, and a list that more accurately represents horror fans and how they feel. So yeah. Who made this list? 19-year-old influencer critics? I don't know. I guess kind of, in a way, right? I think there is a lot of, like, it's a very difficult thing to say. But when I see all these foreign movies on here that I've, like, never heard of, I'm just like, is this, they're just trying to tout something that's different, or tout something that they think needs a leg up or needs some help. Whatever this movie is that's number two, Under the Shadow, I'm just like, what is this? Like a missile during the Iraq War. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like they are trying to elevate stuff that's a little like, you know, it makes them look cool. It makes them look cool to put The Wailing in the top 3. You know, who the fuck cares if that movie makes sense at all? Or if the movie like even can follow its own lore, and it's so long and so meandering, guys. The Wailing, I'm sure some of you like it out there, and that is absolutely your right. I'm not trying to take away any joy that you get from this movie or enjoyment that you get from this movie, but man, it really is like way off the mark for me. And here it is at number 3, because I guess like this is what horror is now. I don't know. I'm discouraged by the list. It makes me want to create my own list for sure. Yeah, probably. Maybe that's why we did have somebody that jumped in the beginning that was like, and maybe it was Yan. Was it you that said it? I don't know. Somebody said it at the beginning. They were like, I don't even listen to Rotten Tomatoes. It's just a bunch of, it's very woke or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that to a certain degree, because it just seems like some of these movies are like, we're just going to like these movies, The Wailing and Under the Shadow and His House. Again, I've never even heard of this movie, and it's a Netflix movie. So this one looks like a US made movie, right? Even though it takes place in South Sudan. But it's like, we're going to positive review bomb these movies because we want these films to have exposure. Not because the films are actually good and deserve the exposure, but because we want them to have that. So we want to tilt the scales in favor of these movies that just cause, for a reason that has nothing to do with the actual film itself and the quality of the art, but we want to promote the art because we feel a social responsibility to. Do you know what I mean? That's about the nicest way I can say it with a lot of these movies that are, you know, especially in this top 30 that I've never heard of and are very recent films. It just seems like it's more political than anything else. I don't know. I could be totally off on that, but yeah, what an awful top 10. I always recommend watching first. Lots of people saying what's in the movie without actually watching it themselves. True. Yeah. Go ahead, watch The Wailing, Ben. I wish you luck. We got Pat, that Halloween movie collector, another one of our great channel members, jumping on in. What's happening, Pat? So good to see you. Yeah, Halloween didn't make the top 10, Pat. I'm sorry. Neither did Jaws. Neither did The Thing. The Thing didn't even make the top 100 on this list. How crazy is that shit? This is bullpucky, says Jamie. Yes. The Wailing, another movie I haven't seen. Jay Beach says, I like K-horror, but it wouldn't be in my top 50. Under the Shadow, I've heard of. Okay. Under the Shadow wasn't even in my top 10 of the year. Well, they just want to promote these movies because they feel like, again, it makes them look socially responsible and cool. That's just, you know, that's what I assume about this stuff, where I'm just like, promote the things that are just different just because. Let's not think about quality or merit. Quality and merit don't mean anything anymore in this world, really. It's just like, have people been checking the boxes for you lately? No, let us do that for you. I have Under the Shadow wallpaper in one room in my house. Oh, just from the what does it look like? Does it look like that? Is that the look? What in the actual fuck? Yes. We're getting a lot of what in the actual fucks. Hell no, never heard of it. Burn this list and never revisit it. This is blasphemy. I've never seen Under the Shadow. 99% of Netflix originals are terrible, says Matt. Apparently they hate Psycho and Halloween. Aaron Click is baffled. I feel like this list was an early April Fool's prank because ain't no way, says Linda. I love that. Even a 3-year-old can make a better top 10 than this. This list is a joke, an unfunny joke. I thought His House was really good, says Ben Grimm. High on my list that year. Haven't watched it since, though. Wouldn't be near the top of my tops of all time. Yeah, so all that recency bias with just imagine how many votes, or not how many votes, how many reviews His House had. So it probably had 1,000 reviews or whatever versus these movies that probably only have hundreds that are older movies, you know. So you're telling me a straight to Netflix movie is number 1? Yes, Stephanie. According to Rotten Tomatoes. Worst list I've ever seen, says Jamie Hart. I expected bad, but this was abysmal. Halloween 78 should have been number 1, not this house, not His House. What kind of damn movie is that? What kind of damn movie is that? Featuring, oh, I already read that. Okay. A refugee couple makes a harrowing escape from war-torn South Sudan, but they struggle to adjust to their new something. Sounds very uplifting. Hellraiser. Manny's, you know what? Was Hellraiser even on here? Hellraiser is not on the list. Yeah, Hellraiser is not on the list. Wow. That's incredible, guys. I couldn't remember, yeah, because I didn't see it even when we scanned through 200 to 100 today, because we covered those yesterday, Manny. Yeah, no Hellraiser on here. That's fucked up. That is fucked up. Hellraiser is probably going to be a top 50 for me, at least. Maybe a top 30 for me. I love Hellraiser. No Final Destination, not one of those made the list. Not one Friday the 13th movie made the list either. And I'm not saying they're all like fine cinema, but man, Final Chapter and Jason Lives, I think they deserve to be in the top 100 horror movies of all time. I really do. You know, Dream Warriors could have been in there. Only the original Nightmare and Wes Craven's New Nightmare are on the list. And I think Dream Warriors is better than Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yeah, never even heard of it. Never even heard of it. No. Never understood people's fascination with Rotten Tomatoes. Never bother with it. It's about as useful and reliable as wet toilet paper. Wet toilet paper. Yes. Yeah, I saw Film Threat covered this, Pat, the other day, and as I was driving to work yesterday, I listened to them covering it, and I stopped the video because I was like, oh my god, this list is maddening. They just named a couple of the movies, and I was like, I have to cover this myself. Like, I have to jump in and cover this because check out if you haven't seen the one from yesterday, Pat, check out the replay from part 1. It's wild, dude. It is batshit. Like, it's fucking crazy. The Thing is like at around like 150 out of 200. The Thing. It's fucking crazy. These 200 should be redone by the fans. Yeah, or just, again, like I said, they have all these Rotten Tomatoes certified critics. Go after the ones that cover horror primarily, or maybe even exclusively, and just have them curate a list. Right? You could still assign points. You could be like, hey, everyone gets 200 points. You have to assign, you can assign however many points you want to 100 movies or something, you know what I mean? So you can assign like whatever, like you could say, hey, I want Day of the Dead, I'm going to give it 50 points, or maybe they give you a shitload of points. You know what I mean? They got to have some way of curating this list, or just having them put together their list and having them do like, you know, some sort of vote, or literally just meet up and come together with a list. I don't know. Shouldn't be that hard. Rotten Tomatoes made a rotten list. I love that one. Some of the movies that carved the path for the horror genre are at the bottom. These critics have melted shit for brains. And movies that we're still talking about. Like, they're still making Scream movies. We're still talking about Scream, but it was like 174 or whatever the hell it was. AI made this list, guaranteed. Oh, unfortunately, I think they put more into it than that. I think AI probably would have made a better list. And in fact, let me pull up Copilot and see what Copilot will do for me. Create a list of the top 200 horror movies of all time, and it probably makes a better list. And that's just Copilot from Microsoft. That's like nothing fancy, right? So this will be funny to see what they say. I'm not going to go through everything, but maybe I'll post it somewhere. Oh, you know what's really funny is they're giving me 25 from this list. That's pretty funny. I'll have to try. Let me try something and I'll post it on the channel, guys. I don't want to spend any more of your time on the stream trying to figure it out, but let me see if I literally can just have AI put together a list and see if it's better than this one. And I'll share it with you guys so you guys can tell me if it's actually better or not. Let's see here. Hear me out. This might be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think whoever wrote this got paid by streaming services to put the streaming movies on the list. Well, and I think what happens is there's just so many people that review movies now. And so these streaming movies get a lot of reviews because they're streaming. So like, Yeah, A Quiet Place on Netflix. Like, it's one of the most watched movies of all time. It's reviewed like crazy, so it's just gonna have the scales are gonna be tilt for it. Yeah. House that Jack built. I've heard good things about that too. Matt Dillon. Yeah. Let's see here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think that it really is just because those movies get reviewed a lot. So the more reviews you have, the better chance you have at being high on this list, which is why we're seeing that. If Rotten Tomatoes were around back in the 70s and 80s, a lot of our favorite films would have never gotten their due. Or just if all of those movies had as many reviews as movies like A Quiet Place, they would have been ranked higher. For sure. Yeah. With all due respect, their rankings are trash. I agree. Yeah, there you go. I want to make my own list too. This inspires me to make my own list. And if you guys feel inspired even to just do your top 20, feel free to drop that as like a comment on this stream. You don't have to do like a full 100 or 200 or whatever you want to do. If you want to jump in and just give your top, whatever, top 10, top 20, top 50 horror movies, whatever it is. It's a flawed way to make a best of is true good art is subjective. Yeah. That's why I think having a group of people discuss and put together the list is somehow more fair because they're using that subjectivity. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's see here. My voice is getting pretty tired here. The Shining made the list, but it is at number, what was it, like 150 something? Let's go. It's in the 148 or 149, something like that. Let's see. Yep, 148 was The Shining. Texas Chainsaw was 149. Yeah, this list is batshit. Yeah, it's wild. It is. So the first half of from 200 to 100, I covered that yesterday. So that's in part 1 of this stream. There's 200 movies, so it's pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah, pretty crazy. But welcome on in, Zach. Welcome on in. We've seen you before, but it's been a minute, so welcome on back. Let's see here. Creep Show is not on there. Nope. Have a great night, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining us. I know I'm very long-winded on my streams. I killed your phone's battery. Yeah, not many sequels at all. Yep, no Creep Show. Exactly, yeah. AI would make a better list. I would imagine so, too. Yeah. Yeah, let's see here. It looks like we are all wrapping it up. Jamie is heading out. Have a good night, Jamie. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night as well, guys. I'm putting together a, in the spirit of the Scream 7 trailer, I'm putting together like a slow-mo frame by frame. I spotted some stuff that I haven't heard anyone talking about. I am going to mention some of the other things that I've noticed a few people talking about. There's a little plaid in there that might give away one of the killers. There's some other stuff like that. But I caught a few things where I'm like, I think I know what this is, or I think we can refute something. So I'm putting together like a frame by frame breakdown pretty much of the Scream trailer. I'm working on a brand new ranking of A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to drop that this month. So I don't know when. I'm probably within the next like week or two. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for kicking it with me. I know we've had a couple long streams here to cover this Rotten Tomatoes list, but you guys have made it a blast. I really appreciate the engagement, the viewership, the likes, all that good stuff, and sharing, of course. Let me close out this poll that we had in the chat. 45 votes. And which movie's placement from 200 to 100 pissed you off the most? I thought I ended it. There we go. I did end it. Okay. So which movie's placement from 200 to 100 pissed you off the most? The Thing won with 33%. Scream is in second place with The Thing won with 33%. Scream in second place with 31%. The Exorcist with 25%. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with 11% of the 45 votes. So thank you guys so very much. Really appreciate the engagement there on the poll as well. And I will be back on Wednesday night. It's going to be, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern, late night with the Davey and Hit the Bricks crossover. So we're going to talk Scream 7. We're going to talk the Terrifier lawsuit. We might even talk a little Freddy's Revenge because that movie just celebrated its 40th anniversary. We're going to get into a whole bunch of fun stuff. So make sure you join us for that. I'm going to go on over here to say Good night to you guys. I really do appreciate every single one of you for hanging out. All the folks in the live audience, you guys rock. If you're watching this after the fact, that's even cooler that you found it, because man, live streams can just kind of die off a little bit. So really appreciate everybody that's watching along. Thank you so much to the Patreon members and the YouTube channel members, as well as our amazing group of Death Squad mods. You guys rock my socks. I appreciate every single one of you, and I love you guys so much. It's been a really weird, odd day, and hanging out with you guys always seems to lift my spirits. So thank you so much for that. I'll see you on Wednesday night. And until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.